Welcome, folks, to the latest episode of Sorcery and Shenanigans. I am your DM, Wayne, and we're going to introduce the rest of the group now in a second. But we're going to march on into our little quick announcements at the beginning, starting with our sponsors. Our returning sponsor, Dublin City Comics, great bunch of folks, really have supported us from the beginning and have given us a ton of giveaway prizes that have made their way across the world at this stage, around the globe to people, even with some postal errors thanks to UPS. But DCC, Dublin City Comics, fantastic group of folks, and they have given us another. The giveaway prize this month is, if you're a D&D fan, particularly a Drizzt Do'Urden fan, it's a massive prize. So yeah, do check them out. DublinCityComics.ie is their website and web store, which you can also go into them on Capel Street. They've got a fantastic store on Capel Street in Dublin City Centre, and you can go in and check them out there. They've got a plethora of secondhand comic books, figures, brand new comic books, brand new figures, models, gunpla, just a crazy amount of stuff. So go check them out. They're brilliant bunch of folks. Our second sponsor, our returning sponsor, Dakota Irish, are returning again, and again, they're giving us a discount code. You can see it there at the bottom of the screen right there. It's the same discount code as the last episode, but they just said to us, you know what, extend it. It's all good. So the discount code for this month's episode is Beer Holder. That will get you a discount on their web store for all of their dice trays, TTRPG accoutrement. They've got so many cool things up there that can help you with your tabletop RPGing. They've got binders, they've got card holders, statues, dice towers, dice trays that are gorgeous. So go check them out. They're a great bunch of folks. That's DakotaIrish.com is their website. So thanks again to our sponsors. And here are the rest of the team. Here's everyone. Hi, folks. So he's all there, yeah?
Yeah, we're here.
Check your audio. Yeah, cool, because I couldn't hear you there for a second. It was like, but there you are. That's all good.
It's really well behaved.
Silent checks.
Yeah, very well behaved. Very well behaved. So, welcome back to Sorcery and Shenanigans. Where we last left off, the group had escaped from the Shard of Night, and I have to pronounce that correctly because somebody told me on a message that it sounds like I said the Shard of Night, but no, the Shard of Night in Neverwinter. They had escaped from it after finding the artifact for Von Breck, the friendly wizard that was helping them decipher Ming-Na and Zilzara's kind of arcane tattoos that appeared on their bodies. But a chase
Thaumaturgical tats.
Thaumaturgical tats.
And that 3 times fast.
Yes.
Yeah, well drinking.
They had escaped after a group from Waterdeep had followed them up north to Neverwinter to try and track them down at the behest of both the Xanath Thieves Guild and the Zentarum. They tracked them to Von Breck's house and tried to accost them in the back of a wagon, only to have them be freed by a daywalker vampire maid of Von Breck himself. She moided a rake of the guards and mercenaries. Also, we had a bit of equinocide. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, there was an interesting use of the heat metal spell by our good bard Gray, which led to some interesting situations. But they then escaped on a ship out of Neverwinter Bay, out into the trackless sea, where they have spent the last 4 days kind of sailing just to get away from the port of Neverwinter and get away from their pursuers and make up a plan, because at the end of the last session, they managed to make contact with Captain Ming-Na's ship, Spelljammer ship, the Silver Spear, which is at this very moment rocketing its way to them through the void. So 4 days have passed. You find yourself still on the ship. You have been doing multiple things, and I'm going to go around each of you in turn and ask what each of you have been doing over the last 4 days, be it interacting with the crew or yourselves or whatever. So I'm going to start with Lopan. Lopan, what were you doing over the last 4 days as the ship kind of just, not so much aimlessly, but sailed at a quick pace out into the trackless sea, past the likes of Gundaloon and past the Purple Rocks in Neverwinter Bay and out into the wide ocean? So what have you been doing for the last 4 days?
Well, this is not actually Lopan's first time being on a boat. He's been on a few times, but mostly when he was a teenager. Him and his sister used to kind of sneak off for the weekend and kind of grab any ship that was going out to sea for a little bit and help them out. So like as soon as we got on the boat and like he knew he could kind of go off and kind of like, you know, see what the boat was like and whatnot, he literally went up into the crow's nest, or as he likes to call it, the rabbit hutch. And he's kind of just made his nest, his warren there. You know, he like, he's trying to remember all the stuff that he learned, and obviously because it's been so long, he's forgotten it. He's kind of tying down his belongings, that like the belongings that he likes to keep on his person. Anything important, he knows to put it down in the hold, or else like on a bad stormy night, it might go fly off into the ocean. But yeah, he's doing that. He's also like trying to help out the crew. You know, kind of like just kind of keep him. He doesn't want to. He knows that he can just sit there until something happens, but that's not that's not the rabbit he is. So he's helping with the crew, he kind of getting to know them. He'll also try and maybe get a poker night going if there isn't one already. And but when you do see him, you see like sometimes he'll be off on his own, just like, you know, mopping the deck or something. But he has he's no bard, but he sometimes kind of like, you know, mumbles to himself, remembering old songs that him and his sister used to come up with. But he's always like, you know, like getting them wrong and saying the wrong words. And if you might, I'll do a little ditty that he's singing as he's mopping now.
There we go, a little sea shanty.
Yeah, a little sea shanty. So like he's there on the decks mopping. He's like now kind of keeping it low to himself, you know. Doesn't realize that people will be able to hear it, but he's like, yo no, a pirate's life is glee. Waves are crashing, boats are bashing while we're on the sea. Yo no, a pirate's life is glee. Getting it wrong, totally. Just one more verse. He goes on, yo no, a pirate's life is glee. Robbing from the bad doesn't make me sad. Gold in me pocket, don't tell him where I got it. Yo no, a pirate's life is glee. And yeah, then he goes back to mumbling, like kind of going like, I don't know, I'm getting that wrong. Bollocks. And yeah, that's what he's doing.
That was amazing.
Oh, pure Ronnie Drew right there. Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've played a couple of hands of poker. Roll me a d20 there, please.
Well, here's the thing. He will lose.
Yeah.
With the crew, he will lose up until he's trying to find out everybody's tell.
Okay.
Oh, he's
He's
hustling.
deliberately
the
first couple of days, maybe the first couple of nights, he loses, and then on the fortnight, then we'll see.
Okay, well, roll a d20 for me.
All right. Well, that's I rolled a 19. Is it
just a straight roll? That's all I need.
19.
You have lost 19 gold in your poker games, learning about tells and different things. You've lost big, like 19 gold's a lot of cash to lose on a boat, but you feel like, you know, you're putting your money in because you know you're going to win it all back at some stage. So that's over the first 2 nights. What happens for the next 2?
I'll try. Like everyone's invited to the thing. It's like it's good to get to know the crew, swap stories and whatnot. Yeah, just and also like remember crew. It might be handy to shout someone's name if we ever get attacked.
Sure, yeah.
That's it. I'm just kind of getting used to the quiet. It's been kind of on the go, really crazy up until now, and now like we've been on the sea for 4 days, and it's so just playing cards. Shooting the breeze. Is any communal beer or wine or mead? Lopan will be sticking to that. The most important thing I forgot. Lopan likes to blend in, so as soon as he got up and got changed, for the entire rest of the trip, he is wearing an eye patch on his left eye.
Oh my God!
He's wearing one of those kind of like wide-brimmed straw hats. And he does refer to it as his pirate hat, but everyone does know that it's not a pirate hat, but have yet to come up and ask him why. And he's opened his blue shirt a little bit more because that's what he sees like other crew doing, and never understands that. But kind of, the eye patch, he gets it because you rest one eye while you use the other one, and we all know that one good eye is better, And the hat does keep off the sun, and it's good for a storm. It also looks cool.
You do get to know the crew over the 4 days, and they totally tolerate you because they're winning your gold, so they're like more than happy to hang out with this rabbit who's very, very eager to play poker and lose dramatically. You get a lot of their names. In particular, the captain's name, she is called Elise Anchorfist, and she is. You've seen her. I mean, obviously, on the 4 days she's been on the deck, moving about. You've seen her in conversation. She's acknowledged you there. She is a mountain dwarf, stocky, long ginger braids, a big kind of ginger mohawk and braids down the side of her hair. Her ears are filled with earrings, massive hoops dangling from each earlobes.
Woman after my own heart.
Yeah, her sideburns are plaited, and they have kind of like streaks of gold and silver through them that seem to decorate it. Sharp, aware eyes, rosy cheeks, a cheery enough disposition, but she gives off an air of not to fuck with her. She's brawny, big, not broad, but like she's got muscles, like she's got massive arms and covered in tattoos all over her body that you can see. She wears like a leather waistcoat over a kind of a high collared red shirt. Kind of wide breeches, not striped, but kind of a dark color to them, a maroon, and then large leather boots. She's no weapons on her that you can see of any kind. She does have her accoutrement of her compass, her telescope, and every now and again you see her take both of them out and make adjustments on sea charts and stuff like that. But you can't really while you see other members of the crew have like cutlasses and some of them have kind of arcane boxes or jewels or whatever strapped to their rings, but they're mainly carrying blades or pikes or whatever, and there's weaponry stowed, but the captain doesn't seem to carry any weaponry of any sort. And she kind of doesn't give you all a wide berth, but she does acknowledge your presence, and maybe she'll have a conversation with one or two of you over the 4 days you've been traveling. But the crew in particular, where's my list going again? Sorry, I had a list there. So you have a couple of different members of the crew that you've gotten to know. You have Samuel Silvertooth, who is a human male, middle-aged, like leathery skin, tan to fuck, like a typical think Anthony Quinn when he's about 50. That's who you're looking at, silver hair, olive skin, just like lines through it. Like he looks like he's well worn. A pure seaman.
We're letting you away with that one. We're just letting you have that one.
Yeah. And he is jolly enough and has won a few hands of cards against you, Lopan. There's also Lyra Lyrander, who is a female half-elf, tall, skinny, bone thin, actually, looks malnourished in some way, very high cheekboned, pointed, like you could cut glass on them. Slick black hair tied back into a kind of a ponytail that drapes down over her shoulders. She seems to be very much part of the navigation crew. She's generally poring over sea charts and helping the captain plot courses. You also have this is an interesting individual. You can't tell whether he's kind of he's half dwarf, half orcish. He's got a kind of he's definitely a kind of a greenish palette to his skin, but with dwarvish features and pointed ears. Definitely a half-breed of some sort. And this guy, he's got they just generally call him Jim, but he tells you that his name is Brother Blackheart. But everyone just calls him Jim. Like all the crew don't have any kind of fanciness about his name, but he's like telling you like who he's. I'm Brother Blackheart, and he's like, that's Jim, you know. And Jim is like the handyman around here. Anything that needs any leaks that need plugged, that's what he does, and he fixes that.
Ship's carpenter.
Yeah, pretty much. Then you have
cook.
There is a cook. There is a cook. Nolan No Legs is the name of the cook, and he is pretty much kept in the bowels of the ship and pokes his head up every now and again. You hear him hobbling up onto the deck and sticking his head out, shouting when grub is ready. He does have 2 peg legs that he keeps down in the hold, that are kind of stationary in the kitchen, but he kind of zips around his kitchen without any issue whatsoever. And he's a pretty good cook for what it is. It's like seafood. So, I mean, you know, the rest of the crew are kind of a mishmash of fresh hires that you're kind of like seem to be on edge all the time because they're trying to impress the captain. And then you've got 1 or 2 other ones. There's one particular individual who is he's kind of like a shit tiefling, basically. He is a tiefling, but his horns are tiny. He looks like he's a bit overweight, and tieflings usually give off this self-confidence and sexual charm, this androgyny that people are always drawn to. Not this guy. This guy's called Anthony Barrelwax, and he is like Wax, WHACK, Wax. And he is kind of like the butt of a lot of jokes on the ship when jokes are being played. And he takes them in good jest, and he's been with the crew a long time. And he's another one that kind of helps with the rigging. And is him and Lopan, you can obviously see him hanging out of the sails most of the days when they're changing course or they're dropping sail, whatever they're doing. And they're the main characters that you've gotten to know over the last couple of days. Is there anything else, Lopan, you've done over the last 4 days that you can think of, apart from your excellent singing and losing at poker?
I think that's enough. I am in the crow's nest actually with the telescope. Who knew? I just grabbed it because it looked cool. But it's actually of use, so I will be doing that. Being on lookout for, when it's needed.
Yeah. Okay. Gray, what have you been doing over the 4 days at sea yourself?
Gray has a mild motion sickness, ever so slight. So
oh no.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not great. So Gray kind of distracts himself. He read somewhere that lying down helps. So he lies down and he puts his lute on his chest, and he's been practicing a few things, and he's added to the ballad of the squad, which he hasn't named yet. And I'm going to keep teasing until I perform it for real. He was offering to like shin up the mast and stuff like that and help with things, and then he realized that he was putting people's nose out of joint because there's people who specialize in the rigging and things like that. So
okay.
So once he dialed back on that a little bit, and they realized that he didn't mean anything by it, and he mostly hangs around with the quieter people on the ship, the shyer people. He's drawn to kind of the shyer people, the younger people, and things like that. He's been kind of worried that he hasn't been praying, and he remembers a time when he was more pious and a bit more spiritual, and he feels he's been a bit distracted from it. So he's tried to kind of center his mind a little bit more over the last while, but it's it's been difficult because he literally can't censor himself while he's rocking back and forth. So he finds little hidey holes to lie down in, as well as his own bunk wherever he's been put. He hasn't seen he's kind of hanging out with lesser members of the crew more than with the actual gang, but that's just because he figures he knows what the gang are up to, like, you know, and they'll check in with each other. So that's been it really.
Do me a favor. So let's go back to one of your praying moments here. So remind me again, what goddess or god do you pray to?
Give me a second. I'm gonna go in here.
You know, your man.
Yeah,
your man.
Who lives in the clouds, like.
I know you told me this before, and I think it's
him upstairs.
It's in our character sheet.
Yeah, I was just wondering if I put it in my backstory bit. I remember that I put a joke into my story section just to make Wayne laugh whenever he read it. So just at the end of my bio here, it says ratatiki ta ta. Yeah, I'm pussy bitch.
I'm pussy bitch.
So let me see. I have it. Sorry, when I have it in my.
That's
in my
okay.
book. It is. Let me just see if I put it in here.
So what we're gonna do in this instance, when you figure, because I know you told me, and I thought it was in here, but apologies for not knowing it myself. But we're gonna do you're gonna try and center yourself through this, I guess.
Yeah.
So you're gonna try and find your quiet space, and the ship is rocking a bit, and it's not too bad. It's a calm enough sea. There haven't really been many squalls that you've been out here, and you are trying to find a calm, quiet area. Which
I have an amulet, which is kind of my religious artifact.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are you find a nice quiet spot. The sea is it's a kind of a calm afternoon. Right. And in a dark corner down in the kind of the hold of the ship, and there's a bit of light coming in through the grate at the top of the deck, and there's some light beaming in. It's a bit of sunlight, and it's a calm area. There's the usual dust mites hanging in the air, and there's the smell of the sea and that briny scent. And you try and kneel or kind of curl yourself up and focus. Roll me a religion check, please.
Okay. Sorry, I was just what I get. I was trying to do something clever there a second ago. Hang on.
It's all good.
Religion check. 19.
19. Very good.
Nice.
Okay. So you kind of put your head down, you start to focus, and you start to reach out. Let me see now. Bringing this up here. Here we go. You worship Tymora, the goddess of good fortune. So you reach out to Tymora, kind of closing your eyes. Your tail, you kind of feel your tail start to slow behind you, and you focus on that sense of the waves as they kind of slowly slosh against the side of the ship. And then you kind of start saying your silent prayer to yourself. And with that high of a roll, it's kind of weird. It's the same sensation you had when you were all trying to break through the communication to the Silver Spear, that magical barrier that you had to push through in order just to get the basic signal out. It's like there's something similar, something arcane in nature. And while you feel your prayer is definitely going out into the ether, and when you haven't talked to Tymora in a while, your fortune has been good, and you have been lucky, so you feel like that they have been watching down on you.
Right.
But now you're suddenly get a feeling that there's something in between you. And while you are praying or even giving offer to your God, you feel that now, right now in this moment, it might not be getting through to them. And as you kind of come back out of your trance, and you kind of start to come back into the moment, you look up and you see sitting on a barrel just staring at you, you see the young maid. Her pale skin, and she's kind of keeping herself, even though she's a day walker, she's kind of keeping herself away from the sunlight. She's in the bowels of the ship for most of the time. And you have seen her over the last couple of days. And she kind of looks over at you, kind of her head cocked to one side. She's like, what were you doing?
Oh, hey. I was praying, I suppose.
Oh. Does that help in any way?
Sure. There was a time when it always has. There was a time when I felt like it connected me to a god. And then there was a time when it was just a quiet time for me. And that wasn't bad either. But yeah, I mean, there's no way to measure if it works other than if it makes you feel like something good's happening. So yeah. I mean, it might not be for everybody, but what's the harm? You know, it's a few moments to yourself. You can reach out with your essence into the world. See what happens.
And she kind of contemplates, thinks about it for a second, and then she's just, it's kind of like an awkward silence hangs between the two of you in the bowels of the ship. And she kind of looks at you again. Her head kind of just turns quickly and her eyes focus on you. Do you know, my God, when they were my God, did this to me?
Huh?
I don't think praying is for everyone. But she kind of just slowly turns and just walks deeper into the ship,
Ortho.
leaving you to yourself. You just see her kind of just like, she's pale and her clothes are kind of like light in color, if nearly all drained of color. But you just see her vanish into the darkness as it just seems to engulf her, and she's gone into deeper into the ship, in between all the crates. And you just hear this again. You're just left with the sloshing sound of the ocean against the side of the ship as you're standing in the hold by yourself. Is there anything else you wanted to do over those 4 days? Is there anything else anyone else you wanted to talk to or interact with or anything like that?
No, I mean, I just got the world's biggest well, actually. So that was. No, just hanging out. Hanging out and making use of myself and trying not to get in the way.
Okay. One of the deckhands does take kind of pity on you, not kind of getting into the or helping with sales, and they do offer to show you a couple of knots and some tricks and guide you on how to pull the basically set the sails and set up the rigging over like a day or so. Roll a mere. You see now, which proficiency modifier is your proficiency modifier is what is where the bug is again? Is 2. So roll me. Fuck it. Give me an acrobatics check because you're going to be going up and down the rigging just to see.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, you can get high on that one.
Let me get all tabaxi on your ass. That's a 26, bro.
Wow.
Nice,
You take to the
nice.
rigging like it was like second nature, and any apprehension you had beforehand and any apprehension the crew had, it completely fades away as you leap between the masts of the ship. And with your little, toe beans, you're learning all the knots and everything, and it's just full on. And by the third day, it's like second nature too. So you can mark that down in your character sheet somewhere that you have that ability that you, whenever you roll on kind of ship handling, which may become more prominent depending on where we may end up.
What
Ship
kind
handling.
of ship?
Definitely with sails on this type of ship, or generally any type of ship, you have advantage.
Okay.
Okay, so make a note of that. And so with Lopan, cool hand looking the crew. Gray is, having issues with praying and also learning a new skill. Zilzara, for those 4 days at sea, what were you doing?
So, like the true mopey emo so-and-so that she is, she spends a lot of time, particularly during the day, in her cabin, avoiding people.
Cool.
Remind me what class Ming-Na is.
Ming-Na is a ranger.
A ranger. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Ming-Na is a ranger / rogue. So she multi-classes.
Okay, cool. So Dee is like, she knows what Lopan's up to. She's happy to let him do her thing. While Gray's been sick, she a couple of times created an ice knife for him to suck on to help with the sickness, but she doesn't tell anybody because she doesn't want anyone to know she's been nice.
A nice knife.
A nice ice knife that he can lick. And hopefully help with his dicky tummy. But because she spends the day in the cabin, she goes out for a wander at night on the ship. So the last few nights she could be found on the bow of the ship with some wine, sitting quietly, watching the stars, occasionally joined by the maid. She's a little bit taken with the maid. She reminds her of somebody from many moons ago. And the fact that the maid doesn't seem to need to talk can be quite quiet. Z is happy with this as well, So, and also she's been spending a bit of time with Ming-Na as well. So I suppose she's been strengthening her alliances with two women who she deems as quite formidable, very either physically strong or incredibly intelligent. Because Ming-Na is a ranger, and with Rogue, you say as well.
Yeah.
They have been having moonlight sparring matches on the deck.
Very nice. I like it. Okay. So, right. So what we're going to do here is
friendly sparring matches.
Sure.
Obviously.
So Ming-Na is going to give you a few lessons in rangering and also in roguing. So the ranger side of it is obviously like the tracking, that type of thing. Yes. And you can do a bit of that at sea. Like she shows you like how to read maps and track and all that type of thing. But the rogue part of it, she teaches you more subterfuge because you have a blade and you know how to use it, but she gives you a bit more to it. Like the dagger, I think the dagger you have.
They have twin daggers.
Twin daggers, and you get the stats on them there now. They're just basic daggers, okay?
They are, yeah.
So over the 4 days, which isn't a long time, but think the montage in Stardust when Charlie Cox is learning how to do all the different things, and he gets his hair done and by Robert De Niro and that type of thing, and obviously Tristan becomes super cool. It's that type of a thing, you're learning how to literally do the dance of the rogue with the blades. And we're going to do a couple of rolls here. Roll me some acrobatics and then roll me some stealth. So both. So roll acrobatics first and then roll some stealth.
Okay. I do it on the thing. Use my Vil dice. I'll probably regret this, but anyway. So acrobatics first.
Yeah.
I rolled a 7.
Okay. +1, so that's an 8.
No, it was a 6.
7. Oh, sorry. 7
total.
Yeah.
And step. 12 + 1, 13.
Wow, that's in stealth. So, what happens here is Ming-Na is so much better at you with the blade. Like she doesn't go hard on you, and like you said, it's a friendly kind of a thing. But you can definitely see her abilities way outmatch yours. And you learn a few tricks with the blade, but not like you learn how to handle it a bit better. You get better with positioning. She shows you weak points on certain bodies, different races, where to hit a half orc to hurt them, where to kind of slice a tiefling to make them be damaged, where to actually poke a gnome for him to tell you the secrets that they know, that type of thing, like interrogation techniques. But then with stealth, as you're on the ship, you learn how to hide in plain sight to a bit more. And she kind of teaches you a few bits and bobs on how to be there, present in the moment, but also be quiet. Kind of like think, can't believe I'm going to do this, but think Drax, where he's like, I'm standing so still, I'm moving so slowly. It's that level of, like, you're there in the moment, but people forget you're there, that type of thing, okay? So with that training with Captain Ming-Na, mark this on your character sheet that going forward, you're going to have advantage on stealth saving throws. Or stealth checks. So when you want to stealth, you've got advantage on it.
So roll twice.
Roll twice and take the higher.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you. That's that. Now, with the maid, you're right. You've spent quiet nights just looking at the stars, looking at the ocean, quietly roll in front of you as the ship either is at anchor.
I drink. She doesn't. Maybe she finds a rat on board.
She funnily enough, you never really see her eat, but she seems, even though she's a day walker, she seems more alive at nighttime and happy to be in your presence. And you've seen her socialize with like Von Breck. You've seen her socialize with Graham, with Lopan to a degree, not overly social, but kind of being there. They may not have noticed that she was there, but she's been around them. But when she's with you, she seems very relaxed. And it takes at least 2 of the nights where she starts to sit a bit closer to you on the bow of the ship. And on the 3rd night, she speaks up. And she's looking at the stars and she's like, you know, my father, he was a cruel man, but he taught me about the stars. And he named me after that one there. And she points far off in the distance. I know Von Breck refers to me as the maid. I do trust him, and he has helped me in my struggle to keep my humanity as such. But he does not know my name. She kind of looks up at you. I sense that you hide a lot of yourself from the people around you. I can identify with that. And she kind of just slides off the bow of the ship and starts making her way back towards the back of the ship and the stern and kind of towards down into down below of the ship. And just as she's about a couple of feet away, she turns around and she goes, the name of that star is Veronis. My father named me Veronica after it. Honey, I haven't spoken that name to anyone in quite some time. And she just goes to kind of the hold of the ship, then she just walks away, leaving you at the top of the ship with your glass of wine by yourself. Is there anything else you want to do over the 4 days?
I suppose myself and Ming-Na and Von Breck may have had more chats with regard to our chats.
Chats on tats.
Chats on tats. To see if, like, can I ask actually, have they grown at all? Have they changed at all? No, they've remained static.
They've remained pretty much the same. There's still a kind of a greenish glow off them.
Yeah.
And whenever if you've done any kind of spell casting or used any magic over these 4 days, there's a
for himself at least.
Yeah. So there is definite, they definitely glow, and there's a definite aura that comes off them when you use your arcane abilities.
So they react to magic.
Yeah. Now, point in order, whenever magic is used on the ship, you can sense it. You can actually sense it. You can taste it in the air. It's like burning of ozone. You can just feel it. And
so I wouldn't have had that ability before I had the tattoos.
You would have been able to if you had focused. If you had focused,
yeah, but not.
But not. It doesn't. It's not like a spider sense where it's like you can feel that there's something happening somewhere in your vicinity.
Yeah.
And you can mark this on your character sheet as well, that you have kind of an arcane sense now within 120 feet that you can sense, that automatically sense that there's arcane abilities. And it's down to, upon investigation with Von Brecken, with Ming-Na, it's down to obviously these arcane symbols. One of the days.
Does that mean, sorry,
I
was just going to ask, does that mean Ming-Na has some arcane sensitivity now as well? Because she's not a magic user.
Well, rangers are magic users. Rangers have a bit of magic. Not a lot, but they've got a bit. Not as much as you have. But yes, she does have, to a degree, she has that same arcane sense, but not seemingly not as strong as yours.
Yeah.
And we're going to montage it a bit here on this, and we're going to cross over our days here. You hear, one of the days you are kind of in your cabin, and you can hear at the distance, even at this range, you can hear the kind of the low guttural singing of Lopan from the deck as he sweeps. And then you hear like the padding, because you're quite close to the kind of the stairwell and the ladders that go down into the hold of the ship. And you sense a curious feeling, kind of likely at first. And then in your mind, you hear Lopan's voice. And Lopan is praying to their god. And you just a very low kind of mumble at first. And you feel the arcane nature of it. You feel Lopan reaching out with his senses.
You mean Gray?
Oh, Gray.
Sorry, Gray. Sorry, Gray.
Yeah.
You feel Gray reaching out with his senses. And there isn't a definite, magical essence there because Gray is magical. But then you sense there's a wall. There's a block somewhere in the ether. And it kind of catches you off guard because it's similar. Again, you recollect it's similar to when you were trying to push through that signal to the silver spear. But this is slightly different. There's something about it. It's like somebody's holding up something to block it. And you can't understand what it is. And then as soon as you feel it, then it's gone. And it's very strange. On the fourth day, you're all doing your usual thing. Lopan, you're up in the crow's nest. And you're kind of like keeping an eye out on the horizon. It's a kind of a hazy mist. It's kind of first thing in the morning, and the crew there's some of the crew are around, and you see the captain is standing up at the wheel of the ship, and she's kind of like talking to one of the mates at her right side, and they're kind of looking over charts of where to plot today. And Von Breck is up there, and you can, even whoever's around, you can be wherever you want to be at this point. Zill, if you're still in your cabin, that's fine. Gray, if you're around. Are you on deck or are you anywhere in the ship?
What time of the day is it?
It's first thing in the morning. The sun has just come up and there's like a mist hanging over the ocean.
I'm probably still on my bone cutter.
Cool. And it's like it's that beautiful cool sea morning air. And the sun is starting to peek up over the horizon, and there's like an orange mist across the water. And Von Breck is discovered. Lopan, you can hear Von Breck. That's still. There's nothing out here. You see the odd the gulls as they're flying by, but you're out in the open ocean, and there's nothing as far as the eye can see. And you can hear the muffled discussion of like kind of like two more days out on sea. That Von Breck kind of talking to the captain, and you can kind of like hear the talk of price and exchange of coin and so on and so forth, and then talk of supplies. And then I want you to roll me a perception check, please.
Yeah, sure. I'll do it.
Everyone?
No, just Lopan, because Lopan's up in the crow's nest.
There.
Yeah.
Perception. It rolled off a 19 onto a 1. That's
one.
I roll off a 19 onto a 1. I was going to give the dice a chance.
The mist is heavy in the air, and you can't really make much out past about 60 or so feet out. You're up and you're looking down, and the mist is hanging low on the ocean, but there's a haze on the horizon as well. You can't really see much. And the ship is kind of making its way through the ocean, and it's not really going in any particular direction. Roll me a history check, actually, Lopan, as well, to see if you know much of the area of this particular part of the ocean, because you have sailed before.
Okay, that's just a straight 11, because
11
plus or minus to it.
You,
So 11.
you know the Sword Coast well enough, and you are on the trackless sea. You do know that this sea is vast and wide, and if you keep going in the direction you think you're going, you will eventually get to the pretty much, not so much the forbidden realm, but the Evermeet is where basically it's where the elves go. It's their place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's outsiders aren't really welcome. And you know that Evermeet is about another 6 to 8 days travel, kind of like west. But you know that doesn't seem to be the general direction you're going. You just seem to be meandering through the ocean. You've looped back on yourself a couple of times, but you're generally trying to keep out of main shipping lanes and sailing lanes. You haven't seen many other ships out here. The morning creeps on, and one or two of the crew come up, check on you. Somebody brings up a breakfast plate to you of your usual stuff that you have in the morning, some carrot juice, and you're left to your own devices. People, even one or two of the crews, like, another card game tonight, mate. If you're interested, yeah, I heard they're going to be throwing down some coin. It's going to be a good one. Some of you might like it in, win some of that back. You know.
Well, like I've having a bad lot of luck, like, but you know, we like the company as well, so I'll give it a go. Like, you know, maybe luck might be on my side tonight or not. But we'll see,
it can't always be bad. You never know. You might win a few coin.
Yeah, I'll be definitely there. Like, you know. Thanks,
and they
man.
kind of hobble back over them down the kind of the rigging and back onto the deck and head into the galley. What are you two doing at this point? The sun is now up in the sky. The mist is starting to kind of dissipate, and it's now becoming into mid-morning.
Yeah, I'm up. I come up and I'm walking around and nibbling on a piece of cheese.
Okay. Can you give me a perception check, please?
Oh, yeah. Now, does it have to be as good as Darren's or?
Well, Darren's was terrible, so.
You can get minuses.
18. So, Gray, you're standing on the deck and you're looking you're on the, I keep forgetting the names of parts of the ship. I should know this.
The prow, am I on the front?
Port, starboard.
Yeah.
You're on the port side and you're looking out over the ocean. And you're kind of just munching on this piece of cheese. And you look up, and through the haze, you can see off in the distance, there's two dark dots just kind of seem to be pushing through the early morning mist or mid-morning mist that's kind of now rising up off the ocean and kind of dissipating. And it's kind of, you look and you can kind of make out sails. And they're definitely ships. And they're definitely coming towards you.
Oh. Okay. I presume other people have noticed this, but I'm gonna point it out to who's nearest to me. Which crew member is nearest to me?
You've got a couple of crew members, you know, milling about the place, kind of fixing stuff in place and, you know, up and down the rigging and stuff. The captain is up at the wheel and she's steering the ship, and you are moving on a leisurely pace, but you are moving kind of not in any general direction, but you're moving along. The captain is just steering the wheel and she's just looking out ahead of her.
Okay. Hey, we got two ships oncoming. How about that? Haven't seen anyone out here for a while.
The captain's like, 2 ships? Where are these ships? And
just that way.
she kind of looks and you see her pull out a spyglass and she goes whoosh, and just looks off in the distance. She's like, she looks down and starts shouting orders at the crew, lickety split, like real fast. She's like, full sail, and they're up, and she starts shouting. She's like, we need to move now. And she starts spinning the wheel and turning, and the ship just starts to careen. Gray, you're hanging on for dear life. Roll me an acrobatics check, please.
Oh, yeah.
Zil, where are you at this point?
Still in my cabin avoiding people.
The ship.
Have I fallen out of my bunk?
That's right. The ship hits a sharp turn.
You want me to
and
roll acrobatics as well?
Yeah, you just feel your bed lurch, and you're hoofed through the air. Roll acrobatics. Great. With that, as the ship turns, you manage to grab on with your free hand. A 10. Zilzara, you tumble out of the bed, and you're kind of the sheets and the pillow that was there just tumble down on top, and you're left kind of splayed on the ground. You're like, fuck. And it's like you can feel the ship lurching as it turns. Gray, you're hanging onto the edge of the ship, on kind of the railing. Cheese still in hand, no issue there to you. Lopan, you're up in the crow's nest, and you just feel the whole thing tilt, and all your shit that's in there, which starts to slide to one side, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Your character sloshes out and kind of splashes over your tunic and your open rabbit hair chest, and you hear the captain shout below, "Ships ahoy! Ships ahoy! They're flying their colours!" And you look out and you kind of look around and you can see off in the distance these two large dots, black dots, starting to kind of grow larger and larger as they're moving towards you.
Can I put up my telescope this time not on the eye patch eye, the other eye? So I obviously wasn't paying attention. I kind of look at the top and I go, "Oh, there's carrot juice on that, jeez." And like, what do I see?
So that telescope gives you, what's the ability on that telescope?
I don't know if you. I can't remember. Did it give me anything extra?
I think it did. It gave you like.
Oh geez, I should have written it down on.
Did I not send on? I thought I sent on the thing to you, but anyway, yeah, it literally, like, you are whoop and zooms you right in, and you zoom. You see right up close. You see these two ships side by side barreling through the water, completely dark wood, black sails, this crest that's flying on the flag. Roll me a history check, see if you know it.
I'm going to untangle myself from my sheets and make my way onto the deck.
That's a 19.
19. You see the flag. Nice. You see the flag flying and you instantly recognize it. This is a mercenary pirate group with connections to Xanathar's Thieves Guild.
Oh, no.
They are led by a ruthless captain. These are his two ships, and he is known as a horrible bollocks of a cutthroat. And he's not to be messed with.
What gang did you say it was linked to? The Xanathar?
Xanathar's Guild, yeah. The name of the captain in question is Theodore Lazar, the King of Thieves. So Theodore Lazar, Lazar, the King of Thieves.
When Lopan finally noticed them, he just like shouts down, is like, "Lads, like, the blighters are coming for us. That's Captain Lazar's ship, from the Xanathar's Guild. Like, he owns the bloody two of them."
And you just hear a very loud "fuck" from the captain as she's fully spinning. Zilzara, you're pushing your way through the cabin area out onto the deck, and the boat is now the ship is now righted itself, and you can feel the wind catches the sails. They go full gust, and it picks up speed. And she kind of shouts out. You see the captain and shouts out to Von Breck, "We are not going to outrun these people. We need to outsmart them." And she kind of she was like, bring up the charts. And she kind of shouts as the navigator brings up and starts pulling out charts. She goes, "We need to find somewhere to hide. Find an island, anything." And you can hear the navigators freaking out. It's like, "Captain, there's nothing around here. We're away from the shipping lanes. Find something." So this pursuit is on. These two ships are gaining on you. The captain is trying her damnedest to keep her ship flying. What are the three of you doing at this point?
I would love to cast Bardic Inspiration on sailing the ship, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm gonna cheer the captain on anyway, and look at my buddies like, it's on. It's on.
Von Breck comes running across the whole deck of the ship and is now over beside you, Gray, and he's looking out over. He was like, "Bollocks! Right, we're gonna have to. Oh, where's Maid?"
I've made my way over to Von Breck and Gray to see what the crack is.
Right, I know you lot can handle yourselves, so if we have to fight, we'll fight. But it's one ship against two, so those odds are not great. Our best
I
chance
might
is
be able to help with that.
really well. Do tell.
I'll need to wait until they get a bit closer, but I can cast a sleet storm in their direction.
That's a bloody good idea. I like that. It's like, Captain, we might have a plan. She's like, I'll take any fucking plan I can get. And she's like,
but they need to be, they can't be further away than 150 feet.
That's pretty damn close.
I know.
Right, well, let's hold that in our back pocket for now. You know, last ditch effort, I suppose. I mean, I've got some abilities. I can shoot fireballs these fuckers from a good range. Right, I think, and then you just hear, kind of from the front of the ship, you hear one of the crewmen who's like, "Land, Captain, I see land." Through the mists, you just see the mists just kind of part, and off in the distance, a good maybe 400 feet away, you see this speck, and it's growing, and the captain's like, "What the? Is that on the charts?" And you see you look, and the navigator's kind of freaking out. She's like, "I've got nothing, Captain. I've got nothing." As they're kind of going back and forth, he's like, "I don't care." And the captain just wheels the ship, and you see it again turn, and you all feel the kind of deck lurch, but the two ships are still catching up. They kind of gain some ground between you, but by the time you start getting within maybe 200 feet of this island that's cropped up out of nowhere, you can start to make out. It's large enough. It's not like tiny in any way. It's not like a small rock of a place. You can guess it's probably about 3 miles across. So but the captain, as you look up at the captain, as she's kind of like trying to steer the ship in and kind of move it into different lanes towards this island, kind of grabbing the current, grabbing the wind, you can see a partially confused look on her face, as the navigator beside her is just baffled looking at this map. Silzara, you kind of, are you still aware you're off with the group off to the side of the ship on the port side?
Yeah, I'm near Grey.
The crew are all milling about, and they're ready. You see them readying cannons, readying weapons. They're preparing to get boarded because these two ships are now bearing down on you. You can now see them in full relief. These massive, imposing-looking ships, probably twice the size of this brig that you're on, and they are getting within firing range of their cannons. They're not too far. They're about 300 feet away. You come within about 120 feet of the island, and Silzara, you catch it straight away. Captain Ming-Na, who's now on deck, looks over at you and looks ahead at the island, and you can just sense this arcane wave coming off of it. Now,
lovely.
Neverwinter and this part of the ocean are quite far north, and you have seen throughout these 4 days that you've been at sea, you've seen the odd ice float, and you know the temperature has dropped. And Lopan, specifically yourself, being up in the crow's nest, you've had to insulate yourself from a couple of blankets, heavy coats, the usual thing, earmuffs, but it's been quite mild over the last day or so. And then you see this island as you get closer and closer to it, and it's covered in tropical flora and fauna. It is so out of place. It's like it's just this tropical island that's plopped up in the middle of the fucking Antarctic at this point. And it's kind of like confusing, but you can sense the arcane pulse coming off it. The captain is wheeling the ship, and it's kind of coming in close and going around the kind of the eastern side of the island, which seems to taper into a kind of a point at the end. But you can see that there's large tropical trees, large kind of like floral bushes with massive red flowers on them, and kind of just off in the distance. Actually, everyone give me a perception check. Lopan, you can roll with advantage because you're still up in the crow's nest.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, I gotta be
Nice.
You gotta be.
Kim, did you get in that one?
Not one, bro.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Close to a 20. 19.
19.
Oh, no, hang on. Sorry, 23.
No.
23. Okay.
That's the stuff.
Lopan, you see this from up in the crow's nest, and Zilzara, you've run up to the front of the ship, and Ming-Na's right behind you, on your right shoulder, and you can see kind of off in the middle of the island, kind of poking out of the foliage. You see what looks like the top of a stone structure, but it's a good bit off, but you can still make it out, and particularly with a nat 20. Nat 20 to a total of
21.
21. So you can see it, and Lopan, you can see it as well. And there seems to be like, some form of bird floating and flying around parts of the island as well. And you can hear kind of, as you get closer, you can hear those wildlife sounds. But there's definitely a structure in the center of this island. And it definitely 100% looks out of place, because as the ship comes in and the captain like runs down off, she's like, we are not going to outrun these people. We are going to have to disembark and try and lose them in the jungle. We have advantage. We're ahead of them. They're going to take time. They're a bigger ship. They're not going to be able to as close to the island as we've gotten. But we can drop it down, get in the boats and row. That is our only hope. We're not going to be able to beat them cannon to cannon. And that's her suggestion. Now, what do the group want to do here at this point?
Well, Kim wants to throw one in for Fred Fletch and yell, "To the trees! To the trees!" But Ray wouldn't do that because that's nonsense. So I grab everything sharp that I have and go with them to help hide people and set traps and things.
Okay.
Lopan has an idea. He's kind of like, we'll come down when he's hearing all this, like that they're going to be moving. He's going to climb down and kind of like maybe, look, like if we're going to leave the ship, is there any way we can put the cannons on a bit of a timer? So while we're like in the little boat making for the island, the cannons will give them the impression we're still in here.
It's and Von Breck's like, it's not a bad plan. I mean, we could do something, I suppose. You're not damaging my ship, all right?
Oh no, we're not going to blow it up, I swear. Or like thinking maybe long fuses, like.
Okay. This is what you're going to do for me, Lopan. You're going to give me a survival check and see if you can fashion some. And it's going to be with disadvantage because you are doing this against the clock because these ships are bearing down on you.
No worries. Let me just find survival. There. Oh God. With disadvantage. All right. Well.
Disadvantage.
I might not have to. Right. So hang on. I did. It rolled before. Well, there's an 11.
Actually, you know what? I'm not going to be that cruel. Just do a roll. I'm not going to make you do this.
All right. 11.
11. Okay. And Von Breck is going to help you. Okay, that's not bad. 14 for Von Breck. So together with Von Breck, you manage to get together and fashion these long fuses and a trail of gunpowder that leads up to the deck where you disembark onto the rowboats that go into the island. So just as you're about to disembark, Von Breck's like, right, we're going to light these fuses. It's going to take a while, and they'll zigzag up the deck, and the cannons will fire off. We might get a lucky shot in. No real aim. It's going to be tough, but it'll give them the impression we're on the ship. And it's like, but they might fire back. And the kind of captain's like, they're going to fire back at my ship. You told me you weren't going to damage it. And she's kind of she's kind of getting into the boat, and the rest of her crew are in the sailboats as well. There's room left just for the rest of you, and it's going to be a tight squeeze because there's 3 rowboats off this ship that are heading in. And she's like, if they fire back at my ship, Von Breck, you owe me. You owe me. I think those things can obliterate my beautiful baby. It's like gives you the signal, and it gives you the signal for the rest of you to clamber into the boats. Are you doing anything else before you get into the boats?
Grab our gear. No.
Oh yeah, you have
Made
your
sure
gear.
I have all my gear.
Yeah, no, you have all your gear. So you all clamber in, and just Von Breck kind of reaches out just as he kind of pushes off and is on his boat. He's kind of half standing, and he just kind of casts a little flame, and you just see it, and you see the trails of gunpowder start to sizzle off, and the boats are lowered down, and you hit the water, and it's the water. It kind of splashes up, and it's coolish, but there is a bit of warmth to it, which again, weird. And the rowboats push off, and you all start rowing towards the island. And within about 2-3 minutes of pulling away from the boat, you got a bit of distance on it. You hear as the cannons all start firing off, and there's plumes of smoke up from the deck of the ship. And you just see the captain look back, a worried look on her face, as the rest of her crew all kind of peer up, and you hear kind of distant shouts. And then after a couple of seconds, and the ship on the other two ships start to open fire. Yeah, that's garbage.
Holy shit.
We ship.
Okay, that one hits. Wow,
Ew.
they all roll terrible bar one. You hear the very large thunderous sounds, much louder than the guns that were on the captain's ship. And I think we gave the name of the ship, but I can't remember, and I don't have it on my notes. So apologies. I want to say something Barnacle, but I could be wrong. But anyway, so you hear large thunderous cacophonous sounds echo out, and you feel like you see the cannonballs whiz through the air above you as they miss, milling through the middle of the rigging. And then one final hit, you see an impact on the far deck, and there's wood splintered up. You see the remains of a cannon twisting up through the air, rigging breaking loose. The cannon caroons into one of the masts as it breaks and snaps and into the deck. The captain is like, no! And she kind of sinks back down, defeated into the kind of the rowboat. And Von Breck kind of like, oh, he kind of looks, kind of tries. He's in a different rowboat, but he's trying not to look towards the captain. But that is the extent of the damage. There's no more than just one of the masks that's taken down. One of the cannons flings through the air and lands crashing into the deck. But you've seen the cannons like fly overhead and bounce into the water a good couple of 100 feet ahead of you, just off the coast of the island. And the boats pick up speed as the kind of cannons kind of invigorate the crew to row faster. And within minutes, you find yourselves pulling up onto the sandy beach line of this small, weird tropical island. The crew gesture these all to clamber out, and they start pulling the boats up. You can see the two ships out in the ocean try to come in, but because of their size, they aren't able to come in as close as the small ship. And you see rowboats start to disembark from the edge, and large numbers of crew members piling into them. For your 3 rowboats, each of these ships have 4. So you're looking at a total of 8 rowboats disembarked from these 2 ships, filled to the gills with crew members. Roll me a perception check, everyone, please.
Yeah, whenever it's time to do something, I have an idea.
Okay, look, you can tell me whenever you want.
Oh, I rolled a B in perception, so it's 24.
Okay. Gray.
I rolled a 7.
Okay.
16.
Okay. Gray, you see this, nobody else does. As you're standing on the beach, looking out at the ocean, looking at these crews disembark, you can see right at the front, standing next to a towering, large half-orc male with a wide-brimmed hat, right next to him in the boat. You see the familiar drow features of Zarut, the drow rogue that tried to accost you back in Neverwinter. His face a bit more bruised and cut up from his spill from the carriage after Veronica the maid threw him off. A determined look on his face as he kind of is drawing his blade and kind of readying himself in the boat. What did you want to do, Lopan?
Gray.
Gray. Sorry, keep doing that. Sorry.
I was thinking of they're getting into these little rowboats, aren't they?
Yes.
Can I cast Mage Hand and tip the boat over?
They're a good bit away, so they're a couple of 100 feet away. They're about, I'd say, they're a couple of 100 feet as they try to disembark.
Right,
but the rowboats are coming closer. They
Right.
are coming closer to you in the water. So if you want to wait till they get closer, of course you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to wait till they're within 30 feet, but yeah, if I let them go that bit closer, I'm only gonna piss them off. I'm not actually gonna cause them too much bother because it will be much more shallow.
Yeah.
So no, strike that.
So Darren?
I'm happy to say to the group that if you guys want to go ahead and find shelter, I can wait until they're a little bit closer, but still not only 30 feet away. and cast that sleet storm to see if that slows them down or topples the boats.
Von Breck's that's a bloody good idea, and he just pegs it into the. You see him kind of starting like his little legs carrying him up the beach.
I'm going to suggest that Ming-Na stays with me because she can track them.
She was going to suggest that she was staying with you anyway. Gray, Lopan, what are you doing?
How from the shore to tree line? How like?
It's about 20 feet.
20 feet.
Yeah.
I think I'll stay and give cover if needed. I can fire my like crossbow and irritate people. Maybe like from Lopan's going to move to one of the far boats.
Okay.
Kind of hide behind it.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe get a couple of shots in to distract them if Zilzara's going to cast a spell or anything.
Sure. What's the range on your crossbow?
It's 30 and then in brackets 120. So
right. So the range, that's fine. Gray, what are you doing?
I'm not going to leave the two. I mean, how many of the crew are running into the trees?
All of them.
Yeah, I'll probably all of them. Is Veronica going too? I don't know. Her name is Veronica.
She kind of hesitates on the beach and kind of covering her eyes in the high morning sun, kind of hesitates and looks towards kind of Zilzara in particular, and then at the rest of you, and then look at the group, and she kind of looks at herself. She's like, then Von Breck is like, "Come on, girl, we gotta go," and he kind of starts dragging her up the beach, and she kind of hesitantly follows him.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna go with them.
Okay. Right, so you're going to go Von Breck and Veronica. Okay, so you start making your way up towards the tree line. So Zilzara, the boats are edging ever closer in through the ocean. You can see them getting closer now, and you make out Sarut as he kind of is seeing you on the beach, and he's like, fuck, you can see the anger on his face. And you also see the passive captain, who's like, in typical style, he's just at the front of the boat, standing up on the front of the ship, on the little rowboat, and his chest puffed out, blade undrawn, but hands on his hips, his large brimmed hat, his half-orcish face set in a kind of a determined look. They're starting to get with it. They're just at 120 feet. The first couple of boats are coming in. About 2 more minutes, they'll all be within range.
Can I? Because I want to distract them. So
sure.
If Zilzara then can cast her spell without getting shot at. So I'm gonna the drow. I'm gonna shoot at him.
Okay, give me a roll. I think. With that range, do you roll at disadvantage?
I'm at disadvantage, but I'm hoping that I'm hidden, so I get advantage, so it cancels out. But it's up to yourself.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, no, if you're undercover, go ahead.
Yeah, sweet. So it's just a straight roll. So, right, D&D Beyond, don't let me down. But I've just jinxed myself by saying that. So I'm gonna roll my hand crossbow. No. Okay. AC 15. 15. His AC is 15 exactly. So that hits.
Wee. Roll damage.
So let me just give me a sec. This goes off as a critical hit because no one's
in combat, so it's your assassinate.
My assassin stuff. So I'll do the damage on the hand crossbow first.
Yeah.
Which is that's 15.
Yeah.
And then the last one is my sneak attack.
Well, is that 15 in total? Did you roll? Did you double the dice?
That's with double the dice. It was a 6, a 5, and a 4.
Okay.
Because it's only at light crossbow, so it's only D6.
Yeah.
And then with a 15 plus, come on. Oh, that's looking like a lot of ones. No, it's rolled off the ones. So 18, because there's a couple of 2s in there. So 18 and 15, which is 33.
Yeah. 33
43.
You just basically Lopan from behind the cover, just like up at the, and the crossbow catches him in the neck, and you just see him careen off the boat as he's snarling at you on the coastline. You just see him, and he just flies off the boat into the ocean, and he's like, you just see him like flailing as he kind of tries to catch himself. The boat sticking out of his neck, blood squirting out. He's fucking hurt with that one shot.
Lopan flips him the I was gonna say the bird, but more the rabbit, and then he's gonna I heard there's a terminology for, even though you realize it's halfway through, he's talking to himself. It's terminology for this that they say in the Feywild. It's like Lager lads, and he's gonna do a with a bonus action. I think I can disengage.
Well, you're not technically in
Okay,
combat,
cool.
so you're just
So I
taking a
moved
pot
30
shot.
feet, which you were saying the tree line was 20, so
Yeah,
into the tree line. But I'm like kind of making loads of noises, and I'm kind of going a little bit away from as if so they won't be focusing on anybody else.
You watch as 4 of the guys in the boat all pull crossbows out, and as you're legging it up, they're gonna roll with disadvantage on this. Oh, disadvantage is gonna be lucky because one of them was a natural 20.
Shite.
Yep, you are very lucky because I'm guessing they all fucking miss. 12.
I
5.
My D&D
4.
decided.
10. So I take it your AC is below 12.
Yes, it is.
So
I'm wearing some leather armor at the moment.
Gray, you look back, Zilzara, you look at Lopan as Lopan is legging it up the beach, and you see a pepper of arrows hit the sand as the sand flicks up and kind of kicks up in the air as he's just like pegging it, booking it full tilt towards the tree line.
Pirate hat going.
Yeah.
Run, rabbit, run.
And they are all now within range of your sleet stone.
Okay, Zara has her crystal hanging around her neck, so she's using that as a focus. I don't have to roll for this. It's a concentration spell.
Yeah.
Grant. So she's focusing on as tightly around the boats as she can, but kind of aiming at the route.
Yeah, it's a range of 150 feet with a 40-foot cone or 40-foot
around, and then
cylinder,
20 foot high.
20 foot high. So you can easily catch all of the boats because they're all coming in together. And there's quite a few of them, but I'll say you'll catch nearly all of the boats. Definitely the central group. Probably the outer groups won't get it fully by it. But it's a dex save of 13.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll for each boat.
Well, what I was just gonna say, so sleet and rain, and you can see like ice starting to form on the tops of the waves around the boats, and they're starting to look a bit freaked out because they're approaching a tropical island and suddenly the Arctic weather is. I'm having a big storm from X-Men moment.
Full on.
Nice.
Yeah, full on.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna roll for the boats. They all fail. That's the first set of 4. So these will be the outer ones. Actually, they fail as it's dex of 13. Okay, one of the outer boats, I rolled a natural 20 for them. They succeed. But the rest of them, they all rolled below 10, which was garbage rolls. Jesus. So only like one of the outer boats kind of manages to push away, and they're still going full tilt towards the beach. They're gaining, but the rest of them, the sleet stone just sweeps in and catches them all. And you can hear shouts and wails. And even the captain at the front of his boat kind of is like, whoa, fuck. And is trying to grab on and has to kind of hunker down as the ice starts to form up around the boats and they start to slow. And you can hear the cracking and that kind of like the as the ocean just freezes and the boats halt with a stall. And you notice that the root is still in the water. And you just see his arm up out of the sleet as it starts to form ice around it. So do they take any damage?
Yes, hang on, I just on a failed save, it falls prone. The creature falls prone.
Okay.
So when a creature enters the spell area for their first time, when it starts to do that, it must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, it falls prone.
That's pretty much.
Yeah.
You're holding them in place, and you see Zarut's arm as he's kind of trying to reach up over the bolt sticking out of his neck, blood pouring from the wound, and he's just seemingly frozen in the water, kind of looking at you, kind of his eyes, just if looks could kill. And you've managed to halt them for now, as the rest of the group have now booked it into the tree line, and you can see Lopan disappearing, Gray disappearing into the tree line, and Ming-Na's like, we have to move now, as he kind of starts to pull you up the beach.
Oh no.
Cool. Can I transport somebody with Misty Step? Or just myself?
You can carry something up to a certain size for sure.
All right. So I couldn't I suppose what I'm getting at here is that could I grab Ming-Na and Misty Step us both to the tree line so they wouldn't see what way we were running?
I think Ming-Na might be a bit too heavy. Let me just check that.
Okay, that's fine.
There's different variations on it, and I think it's higher levels.
Yeah, I'm probably not high enough to bring somebody, but it never said something specific about it in my character sheet.
No, you can't. Misty Step range limits you to only teleporting yourself, no other creatures, willing or not.
Grant.
There is
No
another
worries.
spell that allows you, Thunder Step, I think allows you to carry somebody. Because I've
good to
used
know.
that in a game where my character could Thunder Step, but when you Thunder Step, the area you leave, there's a huge damage area. So you're
Right.
kind of, yeah. But anyway, I mean, it's 20 feet. You can make that in your full movement anyway, legging it.
Yeah, we're legging it.
So
Freaking book.
So everyone has made it into the tree line. You can, as you kind of burst into the trees, you feel the heaviness of the air hit you, and the kind of that tropic feeling, and it kind of actually reminds you slightly of the Underdark, that musty, heavy feel, like the dank air. And Zilzara, you take in, everyone is there, kind of dispersed in a line up into the tree line, all waiting for you. As you all wait, you hear shouts from down on the beach, as the group are starting to kind of pull themselves from the boat, and some of them are even trying to traverse the ice and kind of chip the boat out. And the one boat has hit the beach and is starting to unload the kind of the mercenaries and pirates from it. And you hear the shouts and the screams, and you hear that one distinct voice of Zerud. It's like, they're in the fucking tree line. Let's go after the fuckers. I'm going to cut them down. And you sense the urgency as you all listen. What are the group doing at this point?
I know that my my compatriots are probably okay. So I'm watching for smaller members of the crew or people who don't know how to hide or don't seem like warriors really. Sure. And I'm kind of helping them hide and kind of giving them a little kind of instructions, just quickly going around making sure that people are either hiding or ready to fight.
Okay. Are you giving anyone kind of an inspiration role here, or a bardic inspiration, or kind of bolstering the team in some way?
Yeah. I'm you can hear me just go but obviously quiet enough that I'm not giving away our position. But yeah, I'm pumped. I'm ready for this.
Okay.
And I'm going to make sure that people are either ready or hiding.
Okay. And is there any particular character you want to give inspiration to?
The maid.
Veronica. Okay. So yeah, mark down on your character. You've used up one bardic inspiration. Veronica kind of is kind of like in the tree line, and she's with you, and she's like, yes, if we have to fight, we'll fight. I can help. I can protect these people. Yes, and she kind of looks a bit more with it and less kind of worried to a degree. I mean, you've seen her fight, you know she can handle herself, but she seems more now kind of like, and you can see her features as she says this, are kind of her fingers kind of form slightly into talons, and her fangs grow slightly, and she's like, Von Breck is like, yeah, girl, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. I think we need to move though. I think we need to get moving. And he's like, Captain, are we moving? And you can see at the Gray, you can see from where, because you're up a bit in with the group, you can see at the far end, the captain is kind of breaking with her bare fucking hands, breaking through the foliage and kind of just punching things, and trees are kind of like not heavy trees but small truncular trees. She's punching them and they're breaking and snapping, and she's pushing through the underbrush, and she's like, we all fucking moving for sure. Let's move, everybody. Arm yourselves. Watch your backs. We're pushing in. And the group start to move forward in through this jungle thicket. What is Lopan and Zilzara? What do you want to do at this point? You can see everyone. Everyone can see each other. You're not all together, but there's spaces between you, but you can see everyone in the distance.
Yeah, so myself and Ming-Na are right at the back though.
Yes.
Because we were last coming off the beach.
Yes.
So I think we're just going to press forward and follow everybody else, but kind of keep an eye behind us so that if the lads who have landed on the beach get in range, that we can perhaps slow them down a bit more. So it was one boat that had made it to the beach, which had how many mercenaries in it? At
a glance, you probably saw about
a dozen.
About 8 or 9 roughly. Not a dozen as such, but 8 or 9 in each boat.
In each boat, and at least one of those has
and one of the boats had landed, and the other, you could hear shouts from a distance that they were pulling themselves out of the situation they were in, but it was going to take some time. You were guessing and hoping. Point in order though, Zilzara, you do feel around you this entire place is is filled with arcane energy. There's magic everywhere. And you can just sense it. And Ming-Na is kind of looking at you as well. You can see the sweat pumping off her brow and her shirt underneath her armor. You can see this just starting to soak up, and you can feel it as well. It's heavy. You can all feel this, particularly obviously the two furred individuals. You're feeling the heat. It's not nice. It's humid, heavy, typical jungle.
Very close. It's very close.
It's very close.
That's very close.
Lopan, what are you doing at this point?
Lopan again. He is going to like kind of stay back a bit, like to like around about where Zilzara is as well, and kind of just protect. Be looking around if those guys get to jump on us. Don't being all stealthy. Just if we see them, be the first to shoot them.
Okay. Great. Okay.
Start in the rear, pretty much.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we're kind of taking it. The way in my head, I'm like, the way you'll see like, on fucking in movies where there's like soldiers and stuff, you'll have two run ahead and one kind of stays and watches, and then they take off it. So we're kind of going a bit ahead of each other, but always one of us looking back to protect the rear as we catch up with everybody else.
So the entourage of the crew, yourselves, everyone, you're starting to make a trek through this jungle forest with the captain punching the way forward. You hear shouts from the beach as these pirates start to disembark, and you can feel that you've got about maybe 10-15 minutes head time, and you all start to pick up pace. The closeness of the jungle moves in around you, and Zilzara and Ming-Na both feel this heavy arcane energy in the air. Gray, give me an Arcana check.
19.
You start to feel it as well. You're kind of in the middle of the pack, and you start to sense that there is magic in the air here. And you look at Von Breck, and he is also looking around, and he's brushing his hands off the trees and the foliage, and kind of looking around at the dirt and looking at the flora and fauna in this area. And he kind of has that look on his face. He's like, he's recognizing the arcane nature of this island and how alien and foreign it is. And as you all make your way in through the jungle, pushing your way deeper and deeper, you hear the shouts from behind on the beach. And that's where we're going to take our break. We will be back in a second with the giveaway from Dublin City Comics, and it's quite a doozy, and I'm going to show you what it is. For you folks, you're going to transition into a giveaway screen to show the viewers what they're going to win if they enter. So we have volumes 1 and 2 of the Forgotten Realms, The Legend of Driz. So Driz the Word, and these are the graphic novels. These are collections of graphic novels of the Driz the Word comic books. And these, like these are from Dublin City Comics. This is a giveaway prize. These are fantastic books. I cannot stress enough how good these are. And if you're a fan of Dungeons & Dragons, if you're a fan of Driz the Word, these are brilliant. And these volumes are very hard to come by as well. So this is thank you so much, Dublin City Comics, for this giveaway. You cannot these are top tier, really good stuff. So the question for these two prizes is, who is the author of the Driz the Word legend, the overall author that writes the books? So the Crystal Shard trilogy, all that type of stuff. There's a collection of books to follow Driz the Word and the Heroes of the Hall. It's a writer who writes these books, very famous writer. They are responsible. These comics are adaptations of some of those books. So who is the author, the writer of those books? Put the answer below. In the comments. You need to share this episode on social media, and you need to tag Irish Pubcast. That's how we know you've shared it. You tag Irish Pubcast. So put the answer below and share the video on social media, tag Irish Pubcast, and also give us a little like and then subscribe. You know what I mean? Because we have had a good few new subscribers that have found us on the internets, and we really thank you so much for checking us out, and welcome. We hope you're enjoying the show so far. There's loads more to come. But they are the prizes thanks to Dublin City Comics. Thank you, folks. Go check them out at dublincitycomics.ie. Also, don't forget to check out Dakota Irish. There's the code down there. The code is beer holder. That will get you a discount code on their website at dakotairish.com. Folks, we are going to go take a quick break, and we will see you afterwards. We will announce the winner of last month's prize, the Jester of Our Mighty Nine Critical Role Origins comic book. Yeah, we'll announce the winner of this, and we'll get that out to you in the post when we do. So, folks, we'll see you in a few minutes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back, folks. We're going to jump straight into it. Going to back over to the group. Here they are. There we are. Now, welcome back to Sorcery and Shenanigans. We are going to announce the winner of the Mighty Nine Jester Lavore book. So I just need to bring up my old list. Squeeze me for a second. I should have had this prepared. Apologies, but we were having the chats and the foons. So the question was, who's the player that plays Jester Lavore on Critical Role, or did play her in campaign 2 of Critical Role? So the answer, of course, is Laura Bailey. And you know, we had a fair few entries in, so a lot of people knew the answer. So let me see now. Long list. Kim, roll me a d20 there.
18.
18. 1, 2.
I hope that doesn't use up a good roll for me later.
At least it wasn't a 20.
No.
Puka Tails. So Puka Tails, this is going to yourself. They may actually put a very nice comment on the chat there on YouTube. So thank you very much for that, Puka.
Thank you.
But
Well done.
this is I'm gonna reach out to you on social media. Hopefully we can track you down, and this will be winging its way to you. Thanks to Dublin City Comics, it's a cracking little book giving the origin of Jester Lavore, the character from the Critical Role Mighty Nine. So we've already asked the question.
More because Wayne touched it.
Actual Wayne DNA.
We've already asked the question for this month's giveaway, so don't forget, who is the writer of the Drizzt Do'Urden or the Heroes of the Hall series of books? Write the answer below in the comments section, share the video on social media, and tag Irish Pubcast. Congratulations again, Puka Tails. We'll get in contact with you and get that out to you in the post ASAP. Right, straight back into it, folks. We left the group in the depths of the jungle of this mysterious tropical island that seems to have sprung up in the frozen waters of the trackless sea. Now, you are trudging through. You can hear shouts of voices from the beach. You've made your way kind of through the jungle a bit more, with the Captain Anchorfist kind of punching her way through the tree line.
Ray, if you feel like casting bardic inspiration, can you do it with "Welcome to the Jungle," please?
Oh yeah.
On a lute.
I don't know whether welcome to the jungle, you're gonna die really is not probably the most inspiring.
Not so much. I'm gonna, if I did, it would be, the meme version, welcome to the garden, no ball games, that version. Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not gonna sing
no, I did just little I already did it on the vampire.
Yeah, you do have one more
did.
left before you've got one.
I do.
One left, but you might want to hold on to that. But anyway, so
I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna wait and see if one of my bros gets in trouble.
So your expedition is punching their way through this thick jungle foliage. You do hear shouts from the beach, and now getting more and more distance as this group try to pull them. I'm actually going to roll to see if they do it quicker. Okay, one of them. Okay, so one boat had already landed. They're starting to, they'd unloaded themselves. They're starting to help the rest of the group. The second boat manages to pull themselves free, but you don't see any of this. And you don't know what the kind of the progress they're making. But your group, Zilzara, yourself and Captain Ming-Na are at the back. Lopan right next, not too far from them. Gray, you're kind of in the middle of the group with most of the crew kind of up front with the captain as she's kind of pushing her way through the underbrush. You're You can sense like Gray and Zilzara, Captain Ming-Na and Von Breck can sense the arcane energy of this island. It's heavy, just like the air around you, and you can hear the wildlife as well. And it's kind of like it's just teeming with just magic everywhere, like in trees and the plants, the wildlife that's skittering in and out. You can hear distant kind of grumbling, and as you're pushing your way through, you're going for about 20 minutes or so, and the distant shouts from the beach are getting more and more distant. And you hear the captain kind of like shout up ahead, like, "Oh, we got hold up here for a second. We got a bit of a problem." And as you kind of peek over the group, and you can see just there seems to be a large tree trunk has fallen, kind of across the path in front of you. And the group all come to a stop as the captain and the rest of the crew kind of check and see if they can either move it or get over it in some way. The three of you, I need you all to roll a perception check for me, please.
Is that the fourth one in the American Mike series? Oh, Wayne, I don't even have to finish the joke. I love it. Right. 15.
Okay.
14.
15.
And Captain Ming-Na and Von Brook roll garbage. So the three of you do, as you're kind of waiting and you're kind of catching your breath a bit, and the heavy air is kind of pressing in around you, and sweat dripping off your brow, and your fur, both Lopan and Gray, your fur is starting to get like just heavy and coated with sweat. You kind of sense movement in the jungle around you. You hear a off in the distance, like a large kind of shifting of debris as it moves kind of off to your left, but ahead of you, say about 60 feet, but you can definitely hear the movement in between all the kind of the usual chatter of jungle animals and stuff, because it's something large enough. And then it vanishes off ahead of you, kind of off to the left. You look up ahead of you and you see that the crew are helping each other up and over this trunk. And as the expedition moves slowly forward, and the captain is now up on top of the trunk with the navigator beside her, and they're kind of just hooshing people up and lifting people up. And they get to Von Breck and Veronica, and they help both of them up, and they reach down to you, Gray, and kind of wait for you to grab them, and they kind of pull you up and over. And you see the group are just climbing over this. It's actually quite a large trunk.
Right.
It's huge, and the wood is dense and heavy. The bark is broken and cracked, and it looks like it's been here a while. You can see that there's large vines wrapped around it. There's moss starting to grow in sections, and it's kind of growing into the jungle at this point, and it's consuming it. And this just seems to be a clear section that's been pulled apart. You drop down on the far side, and you can see there is a break in the kind of the jungle ahead of you, about 15 feet. And the crew are tentatively starting to make their way towards the edge of it, kind of peering out and looking. And you're not too far from them. And then you hear Lopan, Captain Ming-Na, and Zilzara drop down behind you. And then following that, the Captain Anchorhands and the navigator drop down as well. And you can see everyone now at this point is drenched in sweat, like the heavy air. And it's so weird going from the climate of Neverwinter to within a couple of days, it's so strange for you all. You hear a shout from up ahead, and you hear a couple of the crewmen are like, "We found something!" And you see them waving their cutlasses and they're gesturing for you all to move forward.
We're moving forward, are we?
Well, no point in going backwards, so.
No.
As the group move forward, you're all kind of clumped together now at this point. You see some of the crewmen have pushed out into a bright open area and a clearing. And as you come out of the jungle, the sunlight hits your eyes and it's kind of blinding. And Zil, you definitely feel it. And you see Veronica shield her eyes as well. And it takes a second to focus in on what's in front of you, but you see a massive clearing with some felled trees here and there that were kind of marking a lining like a roadway up to what looks like a huge entrance, a huge stone opening in the base of a massive massive temple. And it towers up. Think those Aztec type temples that are kind of like steps up, and there's like a large tower at the top. A square tower that kind of reaches up into the sky and goes over the canopy. And Lopan and Zilzara, you realize that this is the structure that you would have seen from the ship.
And there's many stairs, is there?
It's like this. It's like one of those Aztec temples that it's like, it's made like a kind of a stone pyramid, but there's large runs that in large kind of stone rungs that go up the edge of it on either side, and there's a huge archway right in the center that just vanishes into darkness.
When Lopan sees the stairs, he's just like mumbling to himself and goes, "There had to be bleeding stairs. I Traskin hate stairs. Like they vecna me up so much. Like,
there's no stairs into the place. It's more like that the place is like looks like a giant staircase.
Yeah,
it's like that's what the building.
You might have to climb up it. It's stairs to Lopan, and he's
sure, you
can say pyramid and tell it. Sorry.
But that's the way it's called. I swear.
Only in Talon League.
The temple itself looks like it's a ruin. It looks like it's covered in vines. It's overgrown with kind of foliage, and the jungle seems to start. And it's like it's on its way to consuming this building. But there is a huge opening. That's
an air of doom about it.
Just
this temple.
Maybe you don't know. But there's like, you are literally in this clearing by yourselves. The crew are kind of starting to spread out. They're all looking very nervous, and they have their blades drawn. You're all there. What do you want to do?
We can't stay here for much longer. Those asshats will catch up with us. So should we go in and have a look?
I'm gonna turn to Ming-Na and the gang and be like, we can't go back. The only way is through this temple. I don't think it's going to be any worse than what's following us. What do you think, Gray?
I mean, I agree. We can make a good stand in here. And also, can you imagine if Wayne had mapped this whole thing out? We're like, no, we're just going to walk past it.
No, I'm loving the forest. Like, I love the foliage. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Let's just walk around and see what's on the other side.
Yeah. No, we're going in. I presume we're going in.
Okay. So you kind of gather yourselves and you start kind of making your way towards the kind of the large opening. Like, and as you get closer to the temple, you realize the size of it. It's fucking huge. Like, this archway is about 120 feet tall. Like, it's reaching upwards, and the temple is towering above you. There's no way, Lopan, you could easily jump up on the first so-called step of this building. The first thing is about 60 to 80 feet up, and then it kind of goes in, and then it's the next one and the next one. This is a huge temple. As you get closer, I need you all to give me a perception check, please.
21.
Ooh.
2, 8.
8.
Oopsie.
10.
Gray, you see this as you're kind of moving towards, your cat eyes look up, your tabaxi eyes, and you see at the kind of the peak of this arch entryway, there seems to be like massive, like what's left of them, the remnants of these stone snakes that are curved around the top of the archway, and they come up to like they kind of look a bit like cobras, but you can't tell really because they're kind of like they're in such disrepair. But they come up and their heads kind of meet like that, as they're kind of looking towards each other. They're covered in moss and dirt, but with that high roll, you can definitely make them out. They definitely look like snakes, and their tails curve down and around the archway, coming down to about halfway. You also see, again, with such a high roll, that at one point it looks like there's large holes in either side of the walls of this archway. There used to be a massive door in here, but it has since been either been destroyed or broken away or rotted. But there's no actual doorway here. It's just a massive open.
Hey.
As you all kind of get closer to the entrance of this temple, the strong scent of decay and just aged flesh or something kind of slowly but surely wafts outwards. It's not a nice smell. It's something. It's ancient. It's old. It's musty.
Love the smell of decay in the
Like
morning.
really bad. I mean, Zilzara, you've smelled some weird shit in the Underdark, but this is mixed in with that, but also there's been something has been killed here. There's the smell of that kind of tangy scent of dried blood mixed in with decay. It's not a good smell.
Yeah, murder smell.
It's really hard for me not to say kind of like your vagina. Okay, so okay, so there's no door. That's good. Do the snakes like you pull the snakes?
No, the snakes are like, this is a 120-foot archway. The snakes are about halfway up. They start halfway up their tails, and then they go up to the top of the arch. That's where they are. So they're kind of like crowning this arch. Gray, out of the corner of your eye, you see a quick bit of movement in the tree line off to the far end of the temple, to the left, to your left. You see this thing, and you hear in the tree line.
Bigger than a squirrel?
Definitely bigger than a squirrel.
Sounds like a fucking raptor.
I want to chase it. Okay, instead of chasing it, which is what I want to do, I'm gonna tell everybody, hey, there's something zipping around those trees. Let's get in here.
Is it like the thing we heard earlier, is it?
Yeah, I heard that too.
Great. It would be, if they ask you that, it would be like similar to the sound you would have heard it, but you picked it up because you're the only one with.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Well, that sounded big anyway, so balls.
Yeah.
It wasn't
a squirrel. That
let's get
I've seen some squirrels that were pretty big, like able to rip off heads. Tomo told me in the pub one time, they get confused, you see, because they don't know they're so tall. So when they see human heads, they think that it's just a walking Trent with nuts, and they just rip it off. But the damage is done by then, before you can tell them. So and then this is without talking about the squirrels in the Feywild,
Okay, Lopan, let's go.
Lead the way.
The group, like the crew of the ship are also tentatively following you, looking very worried, looking around them, looking at the far tree line where you've come from, waiting for those pirates to burst outwards. As you walk in, the darkness envelops you, and there's no light in here. Now I think Zilzara has dark vision.
And so do I.
120 feet.
Yeah.
60 feet for me.
60 feet. And
Mega dark.
Doesn't, for some reason, even though he eats all those carrots.
He's a bleeding rabbit, like.
As if someone made it up just to get rid of the carrots I buy,
Yeah. Von Breck kind of casts, he conjures dancing lights. So you see Von Breck's hands kind of gesture, and these globules of light just all bounce into existence, and they just seem to be floating balls of light jelly. And he kind of casts them off into the tunnel ahead of you, and they kind of string out in a line of up to 220 feet ahead of you. So it's like a string of lights at 120 feet into the distance, and you start to see the kind of the tunnel and this entrance start to light up.
Wayne,
yeah,
dissing the magic users with the magic lights, but just old habits die hard. I'm going to take out my hooded lantern, and I'm going to light it, and I'm going to hang it on my belt if I can. If not,
Bloodborne style, yeah, no worries.
Get rid of the magic, always have a backup plan.
Yeah, no, you hang your hooded lantern, and it does give you an extra bit of illumination. And you find yourself as you're walking closer to the walls, Lopan, and the rest of you see this as well, that you actually see that the walls are covered in hieroglyphics, all from the floor upwards to the ceiling, and the ceiling is high and curved, and they go up and up and over. And these are ancient, these are old, and as you, what?
Would I understand them? Could I roll?
What language do you speak? You speak.
Oh shit!
You speak Draconic, is what I see here.
Yeah.
Draconic and Common.
Yeah.
So, you do not recognize the language, but there, as I
Right.
said, there are hieroglyphs. So there's images.
Yeah.
So while you don't understand some of the written words that are on there, all of you see these images, and they just seem to be telling all these different tales of what look like snake people.
Oh.
So you see like these large snake-like creatures with human appendages on top of their bodies, humanoid heads. You see ones that are human in shape, but they've got snake heads. You see ones that have snakes for arms. You see like massive snakes, all different types. And it's just all these different lineages of showing that they're worshipping. As you go along, they seem to be worshipping something. And the longer you go along and the more you walk along this corridor, the deeper you go in, you start seeing larger images of these huge, gigantic snake-like forms, godlike in ways that they're being worshipped and prayed to by these other snake beings.
Could I possibly have heard tell of snake worshippers from the past? You know the way we can tell whether we're in an Aztec tomb or an Egyptian tomb or whatever. Would Gray be able to ascertain?
Give me a history check, please.
Yeah. Oh, Gray, boy, yeah. Yo, that's a 19.
You have
Nice.
heard tales of a race of snake creatures called the Yuan Ti, who they're basically snake people. That's what they are. But they definitely do not belong in this part of the world. This looks like it's an old ritual temple belonging to them. And while you can't make out the language, you can definitely understand that these hieroglyphs are all about the worship of their gods. And this temple, according to these, seem to be in kind of like reverence to them.
Can I tell how old it is?
You can't tell exactly how old. It's fucking old, though. It's old.
Yeah.
Like it's in disrepair. You can see that it's like some of the hieroglyphs are well worn. And the higher up you go, the wall you go, you can see that as it fades off into the darkness, you can see some of them are older and more ancient than others, and some of them have been painted over and changed. You get about 60 to 80 feet into the building, and you get to the end of a corridor, and it seems to open out, and Von Brecht's dancing lights kind of cascade out into this massive chamber that has huge pillars in the center that come down from this high vaulted ceiling. They come down straight into the ground. And wrapped around each of these pillars, you see these large snake-like forms that kind of wrap around the base and coil up. You see just snake symbolism everywhere. And in the center of this massive, massive room, huge chamber that seems to be the center of this building, you see a large stone slab of an altar that, while around the base of it is covered in vines and dirt and foliage, and you also notice a fuck ton of bones. The altar itself, the top part of it, is completely void of any kind of vines or debris, but it is caked in dried blood.
Wayne, can you make out? Will we be able to tell how old the blood is?
Give me a medicine check, please.
Because I know Lopan might have studied that. I don't know. You can. Well, what was the roll? Sorry.
Medicine.
Medicine. All right. So I think that's no. Where the hell? Yeah. Oh.
Can I?
No. Word of a lie. I rolled a 19 and I have +1, so it's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay.
Nice.
Zilzara, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask if it was possible to roll an Arcana check to see kind of what level of magic we're dealing with, because this is obviously a ritual magical fucking altar. Yet another one.
Yeah.
Yay! And they always have some nice surprises for us. But yeah, just to kind of get a gauge on what level of baddie we could be dealing with in here.
Okay.
Or what.
Give me that roll.
Sorry.
And Lopan, as Zilzara is kind of reaching out with her senses, trying to understand the kind of the magic that we're dealing with in the area, you kind of start to inspect the altar to see how old this blood is, and you kind of poke your toe beans into it, and your finger just sinks into it slightly. Is it kind of like when you're cracking a creme brulee and it just the top of it is like solid, and then you just go in and it's soft? You kind of tap the top part of it and it cracks, and the dry blood cracks, and your fingers seep into it, and a dark, viscous ooze just comes out of more blood, and your white fur is coated in a dark maroon color.
Like if Hannibal Lecter made a creme brulee.
Exactly, yeah. But you can sense that it's definitely fresh enough, but it's encrusted and kind of hardened over. But this is fresh enough blood, and it's still sticky.
I want to, like, kind of when I look at it, I turn around and I was like, right, so, like, bad news is that this is fresh enough. But, like, when we were looking at the picture of these creatures, like, I did recognize, like, one of the words, I think, on it, and it said actual size. So these things are only yay big, like, the picture. So we're grand, like, they're I'm taller than them. So, like, you're fine, like, but yeah. And I'm going to back away from the altar because I realize I've spent too much time near, and it's bad. It's bad. I was going to say bad goo. Well, it is bad goo. It's bad luck. Yeah. So he says that and he backs away. And going, God, why didn't I wear my gloves?
So Zara, you're kind of reaching your senses out, and you have that kind of aura of the idea that the magic is all around you, but you're trying to sense a level of power here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of strange. You kind of look to Ming-Na, and she's kind of running her hand along one of the kind of the stone pillars with the snakes, and she kind of stops and instinctively looks over at you, and you start to sense it's like little pops in the air, but they're just off in the distance down the tunnel that you came in, and you see flashes of powerful magic. And then another flash of magic that's a little bit different. And you can sense that it is strong magic, but you can't really, with that roll, you can't really gauge the level of it, but it's strong enough. Okay. And it's at that point, you all start to hear the screams. Echoing back down the tunnel you came in. You can't see out through the tunnel. You can see light, but you can't see out in detail because you've walked a couple of 100 feet up into this building. But you hear the guttural screams coming off from the distance. And then there's a silence for a second. And then more screams. And then you just start to see small little shadows in the distance at the far end of the tunnel come into sharp focus into the light and are running up the tunnel towards you. Small in number, you're talking about maybe 4 or 5 individuals. And you just hear the heavy breathing as they get closer and closer and closer. And they burst into the room in front of you. And they're looking at you in surprise and shock, covered in viscous and blood that doesn't seem to be their own. You see Zarut, the captain from the pirate mercenary ships, and 3 other crew members, all with their blades drawn. The captain has lost his wide brim hat, his bald head gleaming, covered in kind of like mixture between black and blue and red blood, as a lot of his crew members are all of different race. And he's kind of heavily panting. He's looking at you, and he's looking back down the corridor. And then Zarud is like snarling and then trying to catch himself. You can see the bolt still partially sticking out of his neck, but has been kind of cauterized and wrapped a bit, but the bolt is still there. You can see a bit of frostbite up one of his arms as he's holding his dagger, and it's trembling, but his hair is matted with blood, as if somebody has been crashed into him, and it's just caked. There's dirt, and they're all just growling at you, and it's like, we meet again. And then you hear it echoing through the chamber. Large dark forms drop from the ceiling, shadows forming. They move into the light and draw themselves up to their full, massive height. as you see 3 large Yuan-Ti abominations stretch themselves out before you. Huge, thick, snake-like bodies that come up into a humanoid torso. 1 female, 2 male, bows strung across their back, large curved blades, scaled bodies, huge muscular bodies, towering over all of you. Their large snake-like heads looking down on you as their tongues flicker out. They draw their blades poking. They point at all of you and just hiss. And you hear this unknown language kind of release from their mouths. And in unison, they all leap into action. I need everyone to roll initiative.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So are these characters with or against the guys that just came in?
You don't know.
Are they facing the same way? They're all looking at us, right?
They're looking at everyone in this room. They're all jumping towards everyone in this room. They seem
the snake people.
The Yuan-Ti abomination.
Okay, and we're on the opposite side of the room from
you were in the kind of
from the
chamber,
bubble.
and they've come down from the ceiling.
Yes.
The 5 of the pirate mercenaries who come in through the main corridor are just in the room with you.
Behind us.
Creatures have come in. You do notice that these creatures are covered in flecks of blood and gore as well, and their blades are already been kind of used, and there's blood all over them. So,
and there's still all of us, and all the crew are all still together.
All of your crew are still together. The other crew are still together as well. These things are fucking huge. They're large monstrosities. They're massive. You see now. I can get this. See if I can get the exact height of them.
What's the spelling, Wayne, of what they're called?
Yuati.
Yeah.
Two separate words. So.
Let's get my monster manual together.
Let's see now. They can roughly they can be up to 7 feet tall. But they are towering over them. They're massive, wide creatures, and they've all got big blades, like curved scimitar-like blades, and they all have a bow and a quiver over their back as well. So, I've rolled for each of them. I'm going to go around. So 25 to 20?
22.
22. 20 to 15?
15.
15 for great. 15 to 10? Ooh. 10 to 5?
7.
7. Okay. Now we're going to roll for Veronica and for Van Breck and for Captain Ming-Na and for the other captain as well. Oh, the Garda girls. Ming-Na coming in after Bray. Veronica is after Zil. And Van Breck is after Veronica.
We're gonna have to fucking protect the crew.
Yeah,
they're not
the crew are
fighters.
pissing themselves at this point. And then for the other, this is quite a large mixed bag.
Even Jim.
What?
Even Jim.
Even Jim. Yeah, they're all kind of like they're cowards. They're barely pirate merchants. Okay, so
I suppose they're used to a certain level of threat as
right. I'm gonna move them
pirates,
as a group. Okay. So, Lopan, your move first. These Yuan-Ti have jumped in. You see them, they uncoil their bodies and they leap towards you in a one swell motion. One is aiming towards your group. One in particular is aiming for your group. The female one which is off kind of to your right. She is kind of leaped over you and is going for the group that have just come in through the door. And then the last one is kind of circling around on the crew. So.
Well, I look at the group and I look at the one that's coming towards us and I just mumble, well, I got the size wrong. And then I kind of speak up halfway through. I was like, I got the size wrong, lads, but that just means it's easier to hit. And do I notice any of the crew that I've been, kind of playing cards with near me?
Yeah, they're all near you. They're all kind of carried. They're about 10, 15 feet away from you. Right.
And I was just like, just call out one of them was like, this is how it's done. And I'm going to fire my crossbow.
Cool.
And because it hasn't acted yet,
Yeah, you go.
I get me. Thank God it's big, so I don't feel as guilty if I heard it. I'm gonna actually no. You know what? I'll continue with the D&D Beyond. So I get an advantage with this. Oh, I don't know. Sorry, wrong one. Apologies. Sorry. What I do is I say that and I dramatically unclip the hooded lamp and put it down because I don't want that on me if I want a ninja vanish, and then I fire the crossbow.
Okay.
So give me 1 sec as I just. So this is advantage. Roll it there, Roshi.
Oh my god.
Jesus, there's a call.
Roll it there, Colette.
Don't know if you can see me fluffy dice. I've gone back to the fluffy dice, but so AC 24.
That definitely hits.
You never. Well, actually, if you said I hadn't, Lopan would probably cry.
Yeah. Give us damage.
So it's a lot because I'm starting at I'm assassinating the creature pretty much. So the light crossbow is 11.
Yeah.
But then I get me sneaky.
Gray, you're on deck after Lopan.
Yeah.
It's one of them still going.
So what's the next bit of damage you have?
So 18 and so
Wow.
that is 29 together.
Wow.
And then I can't go back and hide because I'll fire again with my crossbow just normally.
Yeah.
With my bonus action.
Yep.
So just the normal. There's no advantage or anything. I think it's only my first. Yeah, we agreed it was only the first hit, but I rolled 21 to hit.
That definitely hits.
And then this is without the sneak, still going to be enough. I blow them hoping that they'll move, but they won't. Well, it's a 6.
6. No, that's good. 2 shots. Boom, boom, and you catch it. And it's like, and it kind of catches it midair, and it slumps down a bit and catches itself against one of the pillars. You've heard it. It has heard it. Yeah, like it's like, and you see the 2 bolts sticking out of its chest, green blood dribbling down its scales as it kind of draws its blade and it's like, yes, and moves in towards you. Is there anything else you want to do? You've got your movement.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of see if I was a melee person, I wouldn't feel bad, but I'm gonna kind of go, right, lads. There's a 5 gold in it. If you can do it better, if you can take the head off, it's 10. And I'm gonna kind of like try and like go and move back, but I'm trying to look for a higher ground.
You're gonna try and you're trying to get up, are you?
Yeah, kind of climb up to get higher ground if I can. But it's
the altar
behind a pillar.
You're right next to an altar, or if you want to try and hide behind a pillar.
Yeah, for cover. So I'll go behind the pillar then. So I'm like with my 30 move, so
cool, yeah.
I can on my new go hide.
Grant, you're in the hide. That's fine.
I'm just moving around it at the moment and trying to inspire the group to kind of make them think about money and beating me as opposed to realizing the bigger picture, so to speak. But that's what I'm going to try anyway.
Gray, into yourself.
Right. I am going to. I want to yell as I pull out my short bow. I want to yell to the other group. We're gonna have to work together if we're gonna get out of here alive. And then I'm gonna aim at the nearest snake guy to me. I'm gonna aim at his eye with my short bow.
Yeah, that's the other one is kind of bearing, and none of them are in melee range at the moment, so you've got like this action to kind of hit them with a range attack, no problem. So there's one that Lopan hit, and then there's the second one coming at you, and then the female one is going for the other group. So yeah, go ahead, roll to attack.
Oh, I got a B. That's
Awesome.
It's nat 20.
Nice. Roll them dice for them all. That definitely hits, obviously.
Nice. Nice one, brother.
9.
Nice one, brother. 9.
Yes.
Did you double that?
The D&D Beyond did it. Look at that magic.
Yeah, magic. 9. So okay, so like you catch it square, like just under the collarbone, and it's like, and it kind of turns on you. Do you want to do anything else?
I haven't got any other haven't got any other actions, really.
Your bonus action is Bardic Inspiration, but if you want to hold that, that's cool. That's your call.
I could use that for Zill. I could. Why don't I? Yeah, I am going to turn around to Zill and I'm gonna sing just the bit. I'm gonna sing just the bit where it says, "I'm gonna make you bleed." I'm gonna watch you bleed. Anyway, yes. So
remind me, does that add to my roll or damage?
Isn't it up to you? You have to it's up to you which roll you want to add it to, but you have to say it before you see the result of the roll. So you don't have to.
I can't hear Wayne.
Yeah, me either.
It's an ability check, or an attack roll, or a saving throw. That's what you can do.
Ability check, attack roll, saving throw.
So yeah.
Okay.
So you can use a 1d8 for that. It'll last for 10 minutes, so it'll definitely last for the round of combat. And yeah, as Kim says, you have to announce you're going to use it before you see the. So yeah, it's all good.
So okay. So if somebody was attacking me and I had to roll a saving throw, could I say, "Oh well, I'm using my bardic inspiration on this"?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be on my go.
No. Just whenever you need to do a roll of an ability check, saving throw, or an attack, you can use it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No, what else? That's the end of Gray's go. It's now Ming-Na's go. Ming-Na is fucking pissed. She's like, ah. She basically goes full in health, and she like screams, oh! And is going to turn around, and at the closest one, she is going to cast. Where's it going again? Hunter's Mark on the closest one to her, which is the one that Lopan fired his 2 shots into. So Hunter's Mark is pretty cool. It's so you choose a creature you can see within range and mystically mark it as your quarry. Until the spell ends, you deal extra 1d6 damage to the target whenever you hit with a weapon attack. You have advantage on wisdom or wisdom perception or wisdom survival check you make to find it. And if the target drops to 0 hit points before the spell ends, you can use the bonus action to subsequent turn your mark to another creature. So so she's going to Hunter's Mark that creature, which Lopan has already damaged, and she's going to swing in with her rapier. So that is that's definitely going to hit. That's a 23 to hit. So she gets an extra d6 on that. So that's 8 points of damage plus another 4 points of damage. That's 12 points of damage in total as she slices into it. So that brings that down to that. And she has a second attack, and she's going to strike again. And that misses. So she swings in again, and she, the snake creature, you see it does like snakes do, like they flick themselves. As you can see, the first attack from a rapier is a large gash across his chest, just below where the bolts cut into it. And it's this green blood starting to ooze down as it kind of just its tongue flicks out in front of her. That is pretty much the end of her go, I think. I
got excited when you said that's the end of her.
No, she's actually going to use she's actually already used her bonus action, so she can't do that. So that's fine. She stays engaged with the creature at close combat. It's now into Zilzar.
Okay.
Amanda Zill.
You can do it.
The 3 snaky lads who have landed in, 2 males and a female, he said. So Lopan has engaged one, and Gray engaged the other. Yeah. Any of them going for Zarut and the gang?
Yeah, the female one. She's going for them.
Female's heading for them. Okay, yeah. Right. I'm going to use a ranged. What am I going to use? Oh yeah, magic missile at 3rd level.
Okay.
And I would like to use it against the one of the lizard boys who's not obviously going for the other gang. They can deal with her for the time being.
Yeah,
there's going to go after the.
One of the snake boys is engaged with directly with Ming-Na, and the other one is currently kind of like after taking damage, so it's a significant amount of damage. Actually, no, that's the one that she's engaged with. So the one that the Grey hit with the arrow is kind of about to move in on Grey, and then the other one is engaged with Ming-Na.
I'm going to go for the one about to move in on Grey and
Aww.
lash magic missiles at 3rd level at him. So that's 5 darts.
5 darts.
5 darts.
Up the butt.
So I need to roll damage. I wonder is
they automatically hit.
Oh fuck! I have to do
the beauty of magic missile.
Yeah, the thing with D&D Beyond is unless you were clever at the start, unlike I was, and like multiplied the dice, it doesn't automatically roll like 5 D4s for you.
You have to cast it at the right spot, at the right level. Just add the D4.
Yeah, no, that's...
And then +1 for each dice. Yeah.
Well, they're all going into the same baddie, so 15, 17, 18, 19, 21.
21 points of damage. Yeah, they just streak out. You see 5, like all concentrated, like it's like full on Ryu, fucking Dragon Ball Z, Kami Kami Ha type of thing. Just you see these magic missiles converge into one as they just all impact. Straight into the back of this thing, as it kind of falls and kind of lands and catches itself on the side of the altar, and you see its elbow kind of break through the crust and blood and ooze start to slip out over its arm and down onto the floor, starting to slough off into large clumps. And it kind of picks itself back up, and there's a huge scorch mark up its back as it screams in pain. 21 points, did you say?
21, yes.
Cool. Yeah. Yes. And it's like, and you can see that the scales and the flesh on its back are burnt and singed, and you can kind of see the fleshy meat underneath kind of peering through, all burnt, and there's a smell of burnt flesh in the air. As it kind of is stumbling in front of Grey. As Grey, you're kind of like, oh, what the fuck? Is there anything else you want to
do? I was going to move away. So I was wondering, how far away is the tunnel entrance from where the Mizzruin and the lads came in? Because what I was going to do was move and potentially misty step my way back that way to stop any of them escaping.
They're kind of just in at the entrance of that, but it's a very wide tunnel, so you could easily work around them and get behind them. And particularly if you're going to misty step, you could just literally bamf through them to the other side. Yeah, because
misty step is only 30 feet, and I have to see where I'm going.
Sure. You have to see where you're going, but you can still see the end. You can still see the tunnel. So I mean, it's a huge, tall tunnel area. But yes, you could make it. You could use your full walk distance of 30 feet and then bam for another 30 feet if you need to, because you're not directly engaged with any creature.
Yeah, cool.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, please.
Okay. So you all watch as, or if you're paying attention, you see Zil run and then just leap and then bamf and then boom, and you appear behind them as you land in behind the rest of them in a kind of a cloud of purple smoke and smell of brimstone, full on Cut Wagner style. And you're now behind that group. That is the end of your go.
How far behind them, though? Sorry, just.
Well, how far did you want to get right up to them and then bamf 30 feet behind them, or where did you want to be?
Yeah, so I suppose I wanted to be far enough away from them that it was an effort to engage with me, but like, so that I could still keep an eye and stop them running away.
So say about 15 feet from them.
Yeah, 15, 20.
Cool. So you're about 15, 20 feet. Yeah, that's fine. It's now the snake people's go. So the Yanti are going to swing in. The first one's going to come in and start looking for. First, it's going to look and see if it can find Lopan.
I'm just behind the altar. I haven't.
Have you technically hidden?
I didn't do the hide check. I'm just behind the altar, cowering. In fact,
so it's going to.
I decided, fuck it. I'll just use my second action to just shoot at it, which is I should have actually done that. So
okay.
Yeah, it can probably see me if it just comes around.
All right. It's going to swing in with its Shimtar and swing down with you with its blade.
No worries. Well, I am worried.
But it's knocked. It's a 30-20 to hit.
That's a hit.
It's a hit. It's going to do... Okay. Here we go. It does... Slashes in 9 points of slashing damage as it cuts down into you. As you're on the ground, you just see you feel the blade slash across your back, and you're like in pain. Second attack. That's a miss. That's a natural 2 + 7. So that's 9. So that misses, I take it.
Yeah, my AC. Oh god, if my AC was that bad, I would be rogue.
You duck out of the way, and the blade just impacts, ching, with a large clang and a spark as it hits the altar. Let me see now. It doesn't really have anything else. That's its 2 attacks. That's the first one. Second one is moving in on Grey. It's going to swing down actually with Shimtar. No. So you know what it's going to do? It's going that's what's going to swing down with Shimtar. That's probably going to mow it. So that is a 14 to hit.
Doesn't make it.
Doesn't make it. The first one you manage to duck as it swings over your head. Second attack. That is a 16 to hit.
That hits me.
That hits. As you duck down, it brings the blade down again and catches you across the side of the arm, hitting you for. That is. What's it done again? That is 11 points of damage. As it slices down across your arm, you see the fur, kind of the slices through, and you can see the pink flesh underneath as the fur is cut to one side, and you feel the blood oozing down your arm as you take 11 points of damage. It's like hissing in on you. You can see the arrow sticking out of its chest, and the kind of the scales on its back singeing and smoke rising from the acrid magic missiles into its body. The female is going to move in on the other group, and she's going to do something a bit different. She is going to reach out for Zarut and going to try and constrict him.
Her big tail.
Yeah, so her tail flicks out and wraps itself. She rolled a natural 14 + 7 for 20, 30, 21. The tail wraps around Zarut and it constricts him. Actually, he needs to turn to grappled. And he takes 2d6 bludgeoning. Or 1d6 + 4. So 8 points of damage into Zarut. Find you, Alex. Okay. Zarut, 8 points of damage. Okay. And that's her first attack. Her second attack, she's then going to swing out. She's grappling him with her tail. Going to swing out at the captain with her other blade. And for him for an attack. And that probably does not hit him to 7 + 5. No, that misses. As the blade swings wide. That is the end of her go. It's now into Von Breck. Von Breck, looking worried and pissed, is like, fuck. Is going to reach out, and the one that's towering over Lopan, he is going to. Let me see now. Cast Mind Spike into the creature. As you see, Von Breck's hand reaches out and kind of does this, and he grasps his hands together. And he reaches into the mind because it's a wisdom saving throw. So they have advantage on this. They have advantage on saving throws and spells and their magic effects that they do. So it's a wisdom saving throw. And I think it's 30. Wisdom saving throw. That is a fail. They take 3d8 psychic damage.
Mm.
13 points of psychic. You see the creature's towering over you, Lopan, and you just see this kind of like look of terror spread across its face. It's like reels back and starts grasping its head as the mind spike takes hold. As it's hit for 13 points of damage. And he's starting to look at there's blood pouring out of his nostrils. He has the kind of bolts in his chest. And it is looking hurt. That is Von Breck's go. It's now into Veronica. Veronica just snarls, and you see her body change in form and twist, and her talons extend, her face extends, and fangs. And she just leaps through the air and onto the back of the creature attacking Grey. And she's going to try and do a double slash into her. So double melee attack. Natural 20 on one of them. And the other one was a 17, so they both hit, but the natural 20, so the natural 20. Okay, so this. Okay. 14 points of damage on the first one. The second one is a further 8 points of damage. This is into the one that's on top of Grey.
Okay.
So what did I say that was? That was... Okay, yeah.
14, you said 14?
14, and then another 8. So it's 22 points of damage. And that one is also starting to occur as Veronica is slashing into its back, and you see scales and flesh and blood's flecked to the floor, green blood covering her talons, and she's like, so that's her attack. Now, it's into the other pirates as they're going to attack as a group. He's grappled, so he's going to try and make a save on that, and the save is he fails, gets a 2. As the captain is going to attack in with his blade, that's going to miss. Second attack. That'll hit. That is 22. And it hits the female Yankee for 7 points of damage. Okay. Now, back to the top of the order. Lopan, it's into you. The crew are cowering. They're not doing anything. Actually, no, the captain. I forgot the captain. Sorry. Shit.
Yeah.
Finger fist.
She is literally, you watch, she just basically is like, fuck this. And she pounds her fists together and runs straight up to the one that's attacking Gray and just starts to pummel into him. So she is going to do an unarmed strike on things. So let me see now. What's this? First one's going to miss at a 10. Second one, that'll hit. That's a 30-20. She does 5 points of damage into that creature. Spending a key point, flurry of blows.
Nice.
Oh, it rolled off a natural 20 to a 12. That misses. Okay, so she literally catches it in the side, and it's like it's winded as it stands over Gray. It took a bit of damage. So now it's back to the top of the order. It's into Lopan.
So I've got one on me, but there's someone else helping me in fighting it.
Von Breck mind spiked it, so it's like he's off on the far side. He just cast the mind spike, so it's
Would it
grasping at its head. It is kind of like distracted in that regard, but it is still engaged with you.
Oh no, that's good. But I'm kind of like looking for if I'm getting help, then I can get my sneak attack. That's what I'm more thinking.
There's nobody flanking it.
Cool, no worries. That's the magic word. So right, I am going to just shoot with my crossbow. I'm really, really good with the crossbow, so I don't get any penalties when someone's in on me.
Yeah, cool.
But it's just a regular. I've got the D20 in my hand, and I'm about to press the button. I'm just going to roll that bad boy. No, I just had it in my hand and was pressing the button, but maybe I should have. That's AC 13.
That misses, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of doing the maths, and it's like this isn't my forte. I'm going to disengage.
Bonus action disengage. Yeah, you can do that.
And my move. Oh god, he's gonna probably keep on chasing me, but I'm gonna move away from 30 feet.
Cool. Yeah, you move your full 30 feet away from the creature, and he's still recovering from the mind spike. He's like shaking his head, and he doesn't see you disengage and vanish off. That's the end of your go. Gray, it's into you.
All right, I'm going to chuck my boomerang at this guy's head.
I love this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna unleash it, if that's okay.
Yeah, go. You unleash that boomerang.
That's 14.
That just misses.
Shite.
So you throw the boomerang. It just kind of disappears off into the distance and then back into your hand, but it didn't catch the guy at all.
Right. At that range, that's atrocious. Right. I do have... I don't think it counts if you're going to do a range attack like that. I have 2-weapon fighting, and I have my dagger out as well.
Yeah, you only have one attack action per turn.
I have to be doing it with the 2.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm just gonna wait.
Okay.
See what happens to me?
Okay, no worries. So that is the end of Gray's go. It's now Ming-Na. Ming-Na is going to do the same thing again. Still has Hunter's Mark on this motherfucker. So
remember when I had a swashbuckling rogue with like a million moves?
Yeah, rogues, man.
Memory.
Ming-Na is going to do 2 more strikes into this motherfucker. Both of them hit. Yeah, both of them definitely hit. That one was a natural 17. That was natural 13 plus 7. So yes, they both hit. I'm going to do damage. I'm going to roll on this twice. 8 top damage, plus 3 plus a d6. Roll again. Oh yeah, 16 points of damage on the first strike. Brings it down to... Yeah, this guy's looking hurt. Second attack. Not as good. 5. Okay, 9 points of damage into that guy. So, yeah, this fella's looking rough as balls. Ming-Na is just slicing through, and you just see chunks of flesh. And as she brings the blade down on his free hand, you just see the hand flip through the air, and gouts of green blood, flesh kind of spurt from the wound, and the hand flops to the floor. And she's just breathing, panting heavily, standing in front of him. Pretty much. She's now going to bonus action disengage and move her full 30 feet and move up behind the one that was with Lopan. She was attacking the one that was attacking Gray, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's now going to try and engage the one that's chasing Lopan, who's now coming out of the mind spike. Zayla, it's into yourself.
I am gonna stick with the I think I'm gonna stick with the all reliable. Are the two male Wanty within 120 feet, I assume?
Yeah.
Still?
They all are, yeah, definitely are. Yeah.
Grand. Okay, I'm gonna cast it at second level, which means I have 4 darts.
4 darts.
There are
There are
4
4
darts. So 2 each.
Yeah.
And I am going to roll for them now.
Get him, Jill.
Get him.
Get him.
So it was. So one got 7 and one got 8. So the more hurt one, so got 7, I suppose, if I can do it that way.
The more hurt one got 7. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. Hey, he's looking rough as balls. The magic missile just catches them in the side of the head. It's like, and they are in bits. They're staggering a bit now. So you say 7 points of damage into them. So
7 into one
and 8 into the other one. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one as well
Nice
is looking a
one.
bit rough. He's looking a bit rough. The female one is the only one that hasn't taken any damage. Oh, it's taken. I think she took some damage. I think no, she didn't. She's still fully healed. I know the captain hit her. Yeah, she took 4 damage actually. So that is the end of there. It's now the Yuan T's go. He won who Ming-Na has come up behind. Lopan's done a runner, and he kind of turns and sees her standing there. He's gonna try and grab her with his tail. That misses. That's a 5 plus 7. That is not her. I think that's her. Oh, hang on. That doesn't. Her armor class is 14. Doesn't get her. And second attack. 40. That just hits. So that's okay. And that's 7 points of damage into Ming-Na. She kind of takes it square on. That's his go. Second one, who's rough as fuck, is standing over Gray. Another kind of like he has Veronica on his back, and she's like tearing into him, and he's trying to pull her off, and he's going to try and swing his blade back and catch her. 2 attacks into her. Well, 2 attacks into her. 1 hits, and hits 4. Okay, so she gets hit with 8 points of damage. It's grand. Okay. The female one still holding on to Zarut, and she kind of squeezes just do a kind of a bit of and he takes 2. Oh, he takes 14 points of damage into Zarut. Zarut's looking hurt. Okay, that's their go. It's now into Von Breck's go. You see now, yeah, Zarut's not looking good at all. He's kind of going limp in this kind of contortions, like wrapped around this snake's tail. 14 there. And he took 6 the last time. Ooh, he is looking sickly. Now, okay, so Von Breck again looking around, seeing the really injured one with Veronica on their back. Again, he's going to reach out and go fuck. He's like, You leave her alone. And he kind of reaches out and is going to cast. Oh no, that's the wrong one. I need to roll that. You watch as he casts. You see now. He casts a large purple fist that appears in the air, humongous, bigger than any mage hand you've ever seen, and it seems to have like kind of like a fiery outline to it, and flames flicking off the end of it. As the hand just materializes mid-travel as it's going down towards this creature, and it's going to look pummel and punch this Yang-Ti who has Veronica on its back square in the chest, and he's going to roll in to attack. It's actually just hits, is it? For a large hand, clenched fist. The hand strikes one creature within feet 5 to make a melee attack. Okay, melee spell attack for the hand using the game. Right, so okay. So his melee spell attack is +7. That definitely hits. 16 + 7, and they take 4d8 damage. 1 second now. It's casting Bigby's hand.
Oh, nice.
20 points of damage. This thing is hanging on by a fucking thread. The hand just impacts, and you see there's an explosion of arcane energy as it just cracks it square in the chest, and you hear the ribcage as the air just erupts from its lungs, and it seems to crumple, and Veronica just has to hang on. Actually, let's see if she hangs on. Acrobatics check 16 plus. Yeah, she made it. She manages to hang on, her claws digging deep into its shoulders. It's now Veronica's go. 2 more attacks into. Let's see now. Yeah, multi-attack. Okay. Natural 20. This is going to finish this fucker off. Plus a 14. Yeah. Okay. So it is. Okay. Yeah. It's 20. Yeah. It's dead. Her claws go into the neck of the creature. You see it twist, and its head and just flies through the air. Green spurts of blood flowing up as the body crumples to the floor and she rolls off it. That's 1 down.
2 to go.
That is the end of Veronica's go. It's now into then Zarut is going to try and make a thing, but he's pretty fucked. Oh, I think he made it. Yeah, DC of 14. He manages to see him, and he kind of flexes his arms, and the coiled tail of the snake uncoils, and he flops to the floor. He looks fucked. He looks like he's been squished. A few broken bones, definitely a few broken ribs. That's his go. It's now the captain's go. He's going to swing in on his blade on this female. They both hit. Whoa. So that is 5 plus 4. She finally takes damage. 36 points of damage. Jesus Christ. No, that's not right. That's not right. No. Oh, yeah. Okay. 8. Yeah, that's right. Alpha. 19. Yeah. Okay. It's now back to the top of the order. Lopan, it's up to you. Actually, no, the captain again. I keep forgetting about her. Apologies. Too many characters. Way too many characters. She's going to basically attack in again. Punchy. Miss. Both miss. Lopan, it's into you.
All right. So I'm 30 feet away from the one that was attacking me. Who's engaged with that one again? Sorry.
Ming-Na is now engaged.
Ming-Na. Well, then I'll move a little 5 foot in, so I'm definitely in range, and I'm going to fire my my first hand crossbow. Actually, I'll use beyond. I'm happy with that. That is, that's AC 18.
That definitely hits.
So, because the creature's in melee with someone, I get me sneaky sneak. You roll a 1. God damn it. So with the normal damage, it's a 5, because I rolled a 1 there, and then my sneaky attack. Probably be 3 1s non-violent. Roll on the 3. Sweet. So a total with the 2 of 15 damage into the creature with the first.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, funk, and he just sinks it deep into the literally to the top of the bolt into its chest, It's just like, as it is looking hurt, and there's blood starting to ooze out through its mouth as its tongue flickers and it just spits blood across Ming-Na's head.
I'm not going to cower because we need to kill these things. So I'm going to use my bonus action to fire again.
Okay.
And, oh, nice. AC 23.
That definitely hits.
And it's just a normal dice. Oh, nice. Thank you. That is a 9.
9. That hits it for sure. Yeah, big time.
Not lying. It's a 9.
Like funk into it again. It's like and it's kind of starting to get staggering. It's starting to get a bit woozy. You can see that it's like trying to keep its grip and it's focusing on both you and Ming-Na at the same time. Is that the end of your go?
Yeah, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm 25 feet away from it then. Well, I suppose I'm like 30 feet is my range, so I'll be 30 feet away from it. So
cool. Great, into you.
All right, I'm going to try with my bow again because I'd better look.
Yeah.
Obviously the one that's directly in front of me, and I'm just gonna shoot at him.
Yeah, go for it. It's looking hurt. Actually, no, the one in front of you is dead. One in front of you is dead. So
sorry, the one that Darren just did damage to.
Cool.
Who is this Darren? Sorry, the one that Lopan.
My alter ego. I rip off. No.
I wrote
down
the bunny head comes off.
Yeah. I go as blood starts, going everywhere.
I wrote the initiative line up here, and I wrote Darren, Gray, and then Jill. I'm like, okay. So I got 15, Wayne.
That just hits.
Ooh. Right. Let's see how much I hide him.
7 points of damage. Like the arrow just thunk, and you just see it bury itself in his abdomen, and it's like, and it doubles over a bit. It's like, and it's coughing up green blood as it's gonna brings its blade up, and it's looking over at you as it sees you just standing there with a bow out. You've heard it. Yeah, he's peppered with bolts and with arrows, and it's looking sore.
Okay. Well, that's what I can do.
Cool. That is it's Ming-Na's go now. She's again. It's she has moved. Bonus action moved her hunter's mark across to this new creature, so she's now going to slice into him twice with the rapier. Would you fucking? I'm telling you, I'm going to take a picture of this and send it to you. What I just rolled. Two natural ones.
No way.
Oh no!
I swear to God.
Oh.
2 natural ones. I'm sending them to the group chat now. 2 natural ones. It's nasty. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Jesus.
Oh fuck, that's blurry. Yeah.
It's good when the bad guys roll.
So she missed completely. To swinging in. The thing is just swaying back and forth like a drunken master, and it just that's just nasty shit. 2 natural ones. And she just hits the altar as sparks fly from her blade. There's not much else she can do. That's the end of Ming-Na's go. It's now into Zilzara.
Get him.
The female beastie. How hurt is she looking?
She's not looking that hurt at all. She's been injured, but not as severely as the others.
Yeah, she's dealing with our lads. She's sorting that bit out.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just wondering if I needed to turn my attention, but I think I'll finish your man off first. So I'd like to cast Ray of Frost. Can I roll with advantage on this? My attack roll? No.
Can you roll with advantage on it?
Like use my bardic inspiration.
Oh, that's not advantage. You just roll a d8 to attack. So you add a d8 to the roll.
Yeah.
So it's one. So it adds a d8. That's what it does. So you can roll your d20, then roll a d8 and add the 2 together.
And add it on. Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, grand. I'm going to try a Ray of Frost.
Cool.
At your man.
Your man, Zarut on the ground. Now, Zarut, he did.
I rolled a dirty 20 anyway.
Cool. He did get up, so he's not prone, so you don't have disadvantage on it. So, that hits
22.
Him. That hits him.
Up the drow.
Yeah, that hits him for sure.
Nice.
So he's fucked. Like, so what's the damage on that?
2d8. So hang on, I roll them. Why did that only give me 3? Oh, okay. Grand. I need to roll it again. Yeah, sorry. No, that's wrong. Oh, it was right the first time. Sorry, it was 3. 3 was the damage.
3 damage.
I confused myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it actually rolled 2d8 for me that time, but didn't do it on my other spells.
Okay. You
Anyway.
reach out and you see the beam of white light just zoom and catches him where his frostbite arm is. And you see his arm. It's like as his arm starts to freeze up. He drops one of his daggers. And he's like, he's kind of looking at you, and he's looking really fucking hurt, but he's hanging in there. But his left arm is frozen, as he takes that damage. So yeah, is that the end of your go?
I am going to use my bonus action to what am I doing? Misty Step.
Yeah.
Out from behind those lads and closer to my gang.
Cool. Yes, like bamf, bamf, and you're just there. You land in beside. Who are you beside? Gray or Lopan, or where do you want to go?
Close to Grey, I think.
Grant, you bamf in, and you're just kind of at the foot of the dead body of the young T who's been taken out by Veronica, who's now standing there like looking at the blood, like. It's now into that one last remaining the 2 young T. The one that's standing over Ming-Na and Lopan, and he brings his blade down on Lopan. The first one is 20, 30, 24. I think that might hit. That hits. Damage is 11 points of damage into you.
I is going to uncanny dodge it, so I'm going to leap out of the way and I'm going to take half of that damage.
Nicely done.
I was thinking of doing it the first time, but then you rolled a 9. Like the 9, I was like, I'll save it, I might need it, but then I realized I can do it each round. So
I rolled the second attack he was going to do a multi-attack and use one of those attacks against Ming-Na, and he rolled a natural 1. So that's garbage. So yeah, he swings in, and Ming-Na manages to just duck under the blades that swings over her head. The female Yang-Ti is going to swing around and look at the kind of the bedraggled the bedraggled drow, and just take one swing at him. And that is going to, I think that hits him. Hang on, his armor class is 15. That does hit him. Yes, it does. So it's damaging him. This is probably going to finish him off. Yes, he's dead. The blade comes down, and you just see the frozen arm gets cleaved off. And then she brings it back up and just cuts right through him, and he's like, you just see his arm fall to the ground and shatter, and he drops back onto the ground holding his guts as blood pours out, and just drops unconscious.
Later, Zarut.
Second attack into the captain.
High fives later.
It's a 6 + 7, and the captain's thing that misses. He manages, ding, he blocks it, and he's like, and he's looking down at his dead quarry and looking around at all of you, and you can just hear him goes, this blasted trip has cost me more than a death. And he's cursing, and he is going to bonus action disengage, grab his remaining crew, and leg it out the corridor, because the person that was paying him is fucking dead.
Yeah.
And he is just going to basically full tilt, because it's well, actually no, it's not his go yet, but that's what he's going to do on his go. It's not his go yet, so it's now Von Brook's go, and he's going to turn around, and look at the one that's attacking both Ming-Na and Grey, and he's going to firebolt it. Firebolt, load up, firebolt into that motherfucker. That's Grey. Load up these pages. And there he is. Firebolt. That misses. That's a 10. It just goes wide. Okay. Now it is Veronica's go. Veronica's going to run up, and at the one that's attacking Ming-Na and Grey, 2 slashes. The first one hits. 7 points of damage. Okay, it's looking hurt. And now it's the captain's go. He's going to disengage and book it. He's out of there. Top of the order. Back to Lopan. Grey, you're on deck.
My one's dead, is it? There's just
no. Your one is in front of you. It's still there, but it's looking rough.
All right, awesome. I'm going to continue shooting the hand crossbows at it then, as long as there's someone fighting with me. I'll get a sneak attack. So I'll go with this. Let's see if I hit first. AC 19.
That hits.
Sweet. So with the light crossbow damage. Oh, yes, is a 9 max. Oh, sorry, it's a 10. Sorry, yeah, maths, Darren. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, from close range, it just sinks itself fully into the body. You see it disappear into the skin. And it's like, oh! And it's kind of looking at everyone now surrounding it. It's like calling it to the other Yang T, who kind of turns and sees this, its colleague in distress. Go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot the sneak attack is another 8 points.
Jesus. Yeah, it is looking rough as balls.
And then with my bonus action, I will shoot again and turn it into a porcupine snake. Now, is that a 5 or is that a... Yeah, it is a 5. Damn it, it's borderlining. So that is... yeah, it misses.
Cool. Yeah, it manages to finally block one of your bolts with its blade, and it's like it scatters off onto the ground. Gray, you are up. Unless you want to... Do you have nothing else you want to do, D-Man?
No, I'm good. Sorry, that's...
Cool.
It seems to be working, so I'm just going to...
Yeah.
Stay where I am and do what I'm doing.
Gray, you're up.
All right. Let's hit him again. You know, I'm an elaborate cat with lots of thoughts and desires, but mostly I'm gonna shoot this guy.
Yeah.
I'm
an elaborate cat.
Yeah, you know what? All right, yeah, I might try with my boomerang again and break the...
Go on, yeah, go for it.
All right, I'm gonna aim for its head. Oh, for fuck's sake.
What's you get?
10.
That misses, unfortunately. Again, out into the darkness. And it just kind of caroons her in its head and you catch it and it's like, what the fuck? Boomerang! That misses, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Poor Gray.
Poor Gray.
Ming-Na, again, now defiant after her 2 double ones, for fuck's sake. He's going to 2 attacks into the prick.
Did you roll double ones again?
No, they're all garbage. An 8 and a 7. And then they both miss. No, 8. Is the 8 hit? No, 8 hits. Hang on. Fuck me. It's hanging in there. She slices in with 1 attack, cuts it across its chest, but it's kind of half dodges out of the way. The second one just goes underneath its arm as it moves to one side. That's her attack done. Zil, it's you.
I'm going to cast Frostbite on our nearly dead snaky friend.
Okay.
He needs a con saving throw of 13.
Roll the natural 16.
Damn it.
Yeah. Starting to come back now after those double ones. Fuck's sake. So.
How close is he to me?
About 40 feet from you.
Right, okay.
Actually, no. You're up on Gray. So no, he's about 15 feet from you.
So I have a bonus action of 2 weapon fighting that I never use.
So that's not necessarily a bonus action. It's just an ability as far as I'm aware.
Ah, well then.
So you can 2 weapon fighting allows you can use 2 daggers or something like that. So it's not necessarily.
Okay.
It's just like a feature and trait as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Actions in combat, 2 weapon fighting. It means that if you have 2 daggers equipped, you can attack twice.
Yeah, so that didn't go according to plan. So yeah, I'm done.
The Yang T's go. The Yang T is surrounded and panicking and freaking out, and it's just going to attack the one that hit it with the most damage, and that is Lopan. I'm sorry, D-Man. I just rolled a natural 20.
Oh, I can't see it, so it doesn't count, Wayne. That's the rule.
But the other one missed, so I rolled 2 attacks at once. One is a natural 20, one is a 4. So,
was I the only person hurt up till now? I think I was.
No, Lopan's
been hurt.
But,
okay, I roll low on the damage. So that's 3, 6 plus 4. It's only 10 points of damage into you on that attack.
I will still try to hop out of the way.
You're going to uncanny dodge?
Yeah.
It's just, you didn't use your reaction this round. No, you haven't. No, it's okay.
No, it's only by... That's why it's bonus actions for the crossbows, but the reaction is
Cool.
I checked it.
So you take half damage. So you take 5 points of damage.
Awesome.
Then the female one is going to turn with the captain and his mercenaries hightailing. She turns and sees her colleague in huge distress, fucked, very little HP left, because you can see the counter above his head, and she's like,
That's what that is.
Fully surrounded. She kind of takes in, and you just watch as she slithers up the wall and gets to about 60 feet up and vanishes into a hole and is gone, because there's nobody in range with her, and she just leaves her fellow Yang-Ti there. She hightails it out of there. That is the end of their go.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
Yeah, that's a bit of a blue balls moment.
Cold-blooded. So it's now their turn is done. It's now Von Breck's turn, and he is actually going to. Let me see now. He's just going to do another firebolt into this fucker. DD Beyond is frozen. Fuck you. Okay, well.
Mine froze on my phone a minute ago.
Natural 19, so that hits, and this is going to kill this prick. 18 points of damage as the firebolt catches this Yang-Ti in the chest, and it just starts to burn away. As you're all like, your nose are all filled with burning, smell of burning flesh, and the smoke is acrid and rising up from its chest wound as it just crumples to the ground, twitching as the fire consumes it. And you're left, the crew are all cowering behind the altar, all shitting their pants. And the few of you that did actually engage, Von Breck is like coming over and he just kicks the fucking thing. And you now look over, Veronica's like lapping up the Yang-Ti blood from the ground, living her best life. As you have vanquished this, you're all standing around. You hear kind of the distant slither through the pipe in the ceiling where it's gone, and it's off in the distance. You don't hear anything anymore. The pirates and the mercenaries have gone. They've done a legger back through the forest that was left of them, back to their 2 ships. You're all standing there, the bodies all around you. Some of you are a bit hurt. You've taken some damage. What are you doing at this point?
Can I roll investigation and search the bodies of the snake beasties to see if there's any magical items or any clues about them?
Yeah. Roll investigation, everyone.
21.
Oh, Jesus.
19 plus 2.
They do have what look like gold pieces, but they're not like dragons or anything that you've seen here. They're like gold. They're clumps of gold that have been formed into coins, but they have an unknown image on them that looks like a snake head. They each carry a scimitar, which is, it's basically a finesse light weapon, 1d6 slashing damage. They each have them. They each have a regular bow and arrow on them. They've got their own kind of like just the very little clothing. They've no clothing. It's just that's all they have. But you do find those gold pieces on them. In total, roughly adding up between the 2 bodies about 10 gold.
Well,
fuck it.
Did it.
Cool.
I'll leave the weapons because I don't have any use for scimitar.
Right, Lopan, you guys do nothing?
I've been hurt. I want to get out. But go ahead, Lopan.
No, I think has anyone got a kind of doctor's medical kit? What are they called again? I need to start sewing up some of these wounds before I
Yeah, didn't we get potions and things before?
You did?
Yeah, I can't see them. I never wrote them down. I normally painstakingly add possessions and currencies. It's one of the only things I do as I go, but I can't.
We'll figure it out. We can add them again, but
when I forget stuff, I write it down in a book, but I can't find where that book is, so I don't know what we had. Even though I could just look in my backpack, but some strange reason, it doesn't help. I lost the book it was written on.
I think I did.
We did get something, but unfortunately, that book is somewhere in my neck.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did stock up before he has left, as far as I remember. So.
But if we can get a short rest, that's pretty much what I'm going to try and do. Is
the captain kind of pipes was like, I want to go check out my ship. I mean, those
Yeah.
bastards are fucked off, so I want to go check out my ship and see if it's all right. And we do have medical supplies on board if you want to come, use some of them. But you can then help us put this thing back together. But she turns on Von Breck because this is your fucking fault.
I'll be honest, like, I did actually, kind of like say to fire the cannon. So like, I feel like I'm a little bit responsible. Like, if we're gonna go and talk about like, what we want, like, I would have loved not to gotten hit by a sword here, and there's a bit in my back that's bleeding that I can't touch. So like, before we go back out into the forest where there could be more of these bleeding things, I think honestly we should have a little bit of a, like, just calm the nerves, have a little bit of like whiskey if you got it, like just a couple of seconds won't hurt,
And they kind of
Your ship's going to be out there, like, not in one piece obviously, but probably at the bottom of the ocean, but it's going to be there.
We also don't know where that other one went. She disappeared that way, but she could be back at any time. So I think we shouldn't hang around here.
The crew look terrified of the idea of stuff in the jungle and also stuff coming back here, and
general level of terror.
They're just like shitting themselves. Like, you realize now that these are not crack mercenaries; these are just like a shipping crew. Like the captain is hardy enough, and she's hardy enough for the rest of them, but these aren't well accomplished mercenary dudes. You don't hire these as hired guns as such. They're just sailors. The captain's like, well, I mean, we could make go from our ship. It's not that far away. It'll take us a half an hour to get there. I think we might have already dealt with all of the problems. And she's kind of looking up in at the ceiling and looking at the kind of the areas that you might think the Yuan-Ti come out of. I'm for making my way. We can protect you if it needs be, love. It's going to be fine. And I mean, so Von Breaker's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, I've got you back. You've got ours plenty of times, and we'll look after you. And like, unfortunately, like, he's not a healer, so he kind of looks a bit sheepish about the whole thing. But he's like, I've got more magic, and we can definitely look after you. And Veronica's standing there, and she's just like nodding, and you can see the green gore just down her face and all over her clothes. And she's calmer now, and she's kind of, her vampiric form has reformed into that of a kind of a porcelain doll like face, and she's just nodding. And the captain starts to make for the kind of the exit. So,
how long does it take to quickly bind wounds and all that stuff?
I mean, do you have a medical kit?
No, I'm just gonna need. I've got me disguise kit that probably has a needle, and I've got a bit of thread on me. So I'm literally just gonna. Obviously, I've done this before, like, with worse stuff. And I'm just gonna, if I can get a short rest, I'm gonna just get some
if you want, what you can do for me is you can give me a medicine check to see if you patch yourself up for a couple of hit points. I'll allow that at least. If you're gonna try and needle and thread.
So wrong.
Well, it's just the role playing aspect of doing the rolling the dice to get back to the short rest. Like, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run to the loo while you're doing that there.
Yeah.
Oh, no worries, but again, as much as they're saying they're going to protect us, like, where were they? Well, they were there in that fight, but I've got wounds to say that if I get more of the same, their protection again, I'm not going to survive. So that's why I'm very much, for the first time, being very kind of like, no. Anyway, so what was it, survival or medicine?
Medicine. Give me medicine.
Oh, well, you get off that one. Yes. It was rolling, skidding along a 1 until it hit the bottom. Rolled on to a 19.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You retain. You get back. Where's my fucking dude? 10 points of damage. 10 points of hit.
I will gladly. I'm on half hit points.
Nice.
On 19. So I gladly, 10 is enough to survive.
Yeah, take 10.
Go.
You as you're walking, you're watching it as like Lopan is like needling, treading it, like, and just kind of, and he's doing it quite well, and you can see like the needlework is fantastic. Clearly something he picked up in prison. And you do heal up for 10 hit points. The trek, like, you notice, Gray, as you're walking, like as you're listening out with your cat ears, that your passive perception, the noise in the forest, those noises that you're hearing, they're lesser now. There's none. And like, while there are some bits of wildlife and you see birds flying overhead, it seems to be calmer and quieter. You even feel that the magic is starting to dissipate. And Zilzara, you feel this as well as this Ming-Na, that it's not as heavy. And even as you're traipsing back through the jungle path and up over that tree trunk and out towards the beach, you break through the tree line and you see being kind of like out, you see the remnants of the rowboats that are kind of half like the melted water now as they're kind of sloshing into the beach. And one of the rowboats is missing, and you see a small crew trying to kind of tie up with large kind of grappling hooks the far end of another ship to another as they try and grapple them together. And two very small crews try to get those two large mercenary ships out of this bay and away from this island. You're all standing on the beach. There's a calmness to the air. And you've just been through weirdness and snake people and a tropical jungle that came out of nowhere that's got no explanation to it. The magic in the air feels wrong to all the magic users in the group. It's like, this should not be here. Can Zilzara and Gray give me a history roll, please? A history check.
As soon as you started talking about this tropical island in the cold place, all I could see was Cardi B going, "That's suspicious. That's weird." Oh, 23.
Nice.
Good, because I got a 5.
Gray, you're kind of just listening to the waves, very similar to when you were in the hold of the ship and you could just hear the ocean. You're starting to get used to this surroundings. The ocean is starting to become a little bit normal to you. You're kind of acclimatizing to it.
Right.
And you close your eyes a bit and you reach out with your senses again. And just on the edge, you can feel something weird. Like, this whole place should not be here. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just about touch, with that high of a fucking roll, you can literally reach out and touch the fabric that controls this area of magic. And you sense that this whole island is from a different realm. It's not from this part of the world, not part of this part of Faerun. And you remember back to you when you rolled, when I asked you to roll the history about the Yang and who you knew about it. You know that there's certain parts of this world that they're from, and they are tropical climates. Their temples are known to populate these different parts of the world, and it's definitely not here. Okay. And as you look around and look at the foliage and look at the land, this is not native to here. It's native to somewhere else in the world. But yet it's been teleported and moved here, as if by magic. And as you're thinking this, the group are all standing there. Some of the crew from the ship are bailing into the boats. The captain is looking over the rowboats of the mercenaries for any kind of loot or treasure or anything like that. And she see her pick up an oar and a hook every now and again and a blade and toss it back in. You all turn as the conch shell on Ming-Na's hip crackles to life. And you hear, clear as day, a large gruff voice pierced through the air. "Captain, we have broken orbit. We have found your signal, and we are incoming. Prepare for our landing." And Ming-Na just picks up the shell and is like looking at it and then looks to the sky. And as you follow her gaze, you see a glint of silver that grows bigger and bigger and bigger. Catching in the midday sun, you see this huge airborne vessel, a ship, sails billowing as it falls from the sky as if it's plummeting towards you. Gaining faster and faster and faster, growing larger and larger, bigger than any ship you've ever seen, bigger than any of the ships that you've seen on the ocean. It's long, it's sleek, it's pointed at the front. The sails are whipping backwards. There's 3 sails, one large one, 2 smaller ones. Silver, it's like the whole thing is just made of silver as it glints and gleams in the sunlight, hurtling towards this small island that you're all standing on. and some of the crew freak out and kind of start running and some of them sort of bury themselves, some of them jump into the ocean, some of them try to swim out towards the boat, some of them get into the rowboat, start rowing as fast as they can, but you're all standing there struck dumb by this sight as the silver spear plummets from the sky at a full tilt and at an impossible rate. You don't know how it managed to do this, but it just all of a sudden stops and pulls itself upright and just kind of swings around and floats and skids to a halt in the air above the island, floating about 60 feet above you. You feel the wash of air as it kicks up all the dust and dirt on the beach. Debris, the rowboats are blown to one side as the whole area around you just hits this gust of wind from the kind of the landing of, hovering landing of the silver spear. And it just hangs there above you in the air. Ming-Na is just like looking up at it, an ecstatic smile on her face as she holds the conch shell up. You all are looking at each other as a large gangplank extends out and drops down, hovering just above the sand, steps appearing in it as you watch as this 6.5 foot tall, broad, shaped like a Dorito, basically, half orc, bald, apart from a white ponytail at the back of his head that's kind of tied up into a top knot, large white mutton chop sideburns, his tusks kind of sharpened to a point that jut out from his mouth, a leather waistcoat over a white kind of large collared billowing shirt that is tucked at the sleeves, his large muscular arms covered in tattoos, a large blade, kind of a cutlass on his left hip, tied to a belt. Then there's a holster, what looks like you think is a crossbow as he comes kind of trundling down the gangplank, but at further inspection, it just looks like a series of pipes that have all been connected together, that a large handle coming at the end of it, and it's sitting in the holster. Blade strapped to his boot, and a large belt kind of strung across that has blades on it on his chest. He kind of bounds down the gangplank, lands in the soil, uneasy at first, kind of catching his footing, and then runs towards Ming-Na, stopping short just as he gets in front of her. You see him as he towers over her, and he kind of like looks down at her and then catches himself and stands to attention. He's like, "Captain, we have come." And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode of Sorcery and Shenanigans. Thank you for sticking with us, folks. Slightly longer than usual, just slightly. We hope you've enjoyed that episode. Hope you guys had fun on the tropical island of death. But you know, thank you. I hope you enjoyed playing that. I had loads of fun.
That was fun. That was loads of fun.
That was deadly.
I
was hoping for a moment, because Lopan does have an Hawaiian shirt. It's dusty now, but I was waiting for a moment. But every time I was thinking of doing it, there was a noise or something. I was like, no, because it's just going to go for me. I'm going to be that one that's like, back in a second. And as I'm getting changed, because snakes go for rabbits, you know. It's like, we're tasty apparently.
So the silver spear has arrived.
Woo!
Your first sight of a Spelljammer. It's a crazy sight to see. We will pick this up next month on the next episode of Sorcery and Shenanigans. Don't forget to enter into the competition. Answer the question below. Who is the author of the Heroes of the Hall series, the Drizzt Worden books? Pop below in the comments. Share the video on social media and tag Irish Pubcast, and we'll be in a chance to win those two phenomenal, I'll show them to you again, volumes of the Legend of Drizzt Worden. Volume 1 and 2. Very hard to come by comic books. Thank you so much for Dublin City Comics for sponsoring us and giving us those giveaway prizes. Until next time, folks, we have been Pubcast Plays D&D with Sorcery and Shenanigans. I've been your DM, Wayne.
Woo!
Say goodbye, people. That's been Jill.
Bye, people.
Yeah, that's
Bye,
been Jill.
people.
Folks, stay safe, look after yourselves. Until the next time, take it handy. Bye-bye.
Later.
Cheers.